Hey everyone, I sincerely appreciate your support. If you enjoy my audiobooks, I would be truly grateful if you could subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support even further, you're welcome to become a Patreon member, where you can access audiobooks of novels as long as they are freely available on the internet. Your kindness and support mean so much. Thank you.
His gemstone might be a little difficult to understand. Actually, it's just like its name suggests. Savings, you know. It allows the skills of contracted spirits to be stored in a form. It's a bit like when Sun E first formed a contract with the Blood Lotus. The same little trick for gathering arrows is used. Soul Arrow fires once every 5 seconds. With the help of accumulating gems, each skill can store up to 3 times its cooldown duration. Let's do a quick calculation. That is 36 soul arrows. In addition, there's the upgraded effect of firing 3 shots in a row. That's a total of 108 arrows. This number is truly terrifying. In other words, after equipping this gem, every time Blood Lotus encounters a battle, they can all be like live machine guns. Hundreds of soul arrows. Swish, 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 swish. They shot down the enemy with a hail of arrows. In addition, besides the soul arrow, the bone spurs of the Blood Lotus under the influence of accumulated gemstones. They've also become able to save money. The bone spur has a 30-second cooldown. Total number of uses with a 3-minute cooldown period. That's 6 times. The damage from a single bone spur is already enormous. What's more, 6 shots were fired in succession. Its power is self-evident. That's a fair statement. After acquiring this accumulated gem, Blood Lotus can coordinate with the entire team from the very beginning of the battle, relying on an overwhelming offensive. Overwhelm the opponent in one fell swoop. As for how to properly insert this gem into the Blood Lotus's body, Sun E looked at the Blood Lotus. Having followed Sun E for so long, the latter already knew his thoughts. Open your mouth, close your eyes. No, 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 this time please keep your mouth open and lower your body. Yes, a little lower, leaning against the conference table. That's absolutely right, that's it, keep it up. Sun E made Shui Lian's chin rest flat against the corner of the conference table. The other female ghosts were all dumbfounded. What is Sun E trying to do? What new trick will he pull this time? Sun E placed the gem he had accumulated on the conference table. Then take out another white soul bead and a billiard cue. No, where did this pool cue come from? Gang Ing exclaimed in surprise. Master, this seems a bit outrageous. Sun E then placed the soul pearl on the conference table in a similar manner. He crouched down, the club resting on his hand, aiming at the white soul orb, accumulating gems, and the mouth of the Blood Lotus. Are they playing pool? A straight line between 3 points right now. Snap. 1 shot. Good. Not bad this time. Sun E smiled. The accumulated gem, under the impact of the white soul pearl, it rolled in circles toward the Blood Lotus's mouth. It seems to be due to Sun Yi's unique impact angle. This soul bead actually swung around the corner of Blood Lotus's mouth. Then roll it into her mouth. Holy crap, this is a bit outrageous, isn't it? Gang Ing had never seen such an incredible feat before. At this point, some very astute readers might ask, this is simply too outrageous. That's true. But the keyboard is in my hands. If I say I did it, then Sunny did it. Cough cough. In short, the Blood Lotus swallowed this accumulated gem. After swallowing it, Sun E checked her panel. Slightly. Although the readers couldn't see it, Sun E definitely did. All of Blood Lotus's skills have begun to gain charge points. Each time a charged skill is released, the interval between releases is quite short. It will take about 3 to 5 seconds to fire all 108 soul arrows. If we also take into account the effect of percentage-based true damage, that's practically a kill in seconds. Excellent. I'm really looking forward to the battle in the Great Library. As he said this, Sun E began to observe Tang Shi again. Tang Shi, activate the blood gem within you. As the blood gem activated, a crimson aura immediately emanated from Tang Shi's body. Her entire demeanor has changed. She had completely changed her gentle, girl-next-door image. The ghost's aura was like that of a demon descending to earth, inspiring fear in all who beheld it. Ugh, my sister has suddenly become so scary. Meng, who was sitting closest to Tang Shi, clearly felt uneasy, but was unwilling to leave. Yes, in this state, the efficiency of bleeding. It increased by approximately 100%. Sun E estimated. In other words, in the past, after unleashing mountains of corpses and seas of blood, the 4 sword strikes caused bleeding once. 2 sword strikes will suffice now. Damage efficiency has been greatly improved. Both are very good. All the equipment has been distributed. Finally, let's upgrade the level. Especially the Blood Lotus. Her skill level hasn't been improved in a very long time. Although she has always been strong in combat due to her high percentage of true damage, her combat power has never been weak. But this can't go on forever. With the addition of accumulated gems, Blood Lotus can now unleash a large number of skills at once. In this way, upgrading her skills will yield considerable benefits. System: upgrade Blood Lotus's first skill, Soul Arrow. Upgrade complete, consuming 450 pain points. Skip the tedious 3-choice section. Sun E selected the new upgrade effect. Ghost Arrow. Soul Arrow can now penetrate the first target it encounters, damaging both the penetrated target and any subsequent targets hit. Simply put, that means 1 arrow can hit 2 targets standing in a row. Or, to put it another way, if someone were to raise a shield to defend against the Soul Arrow, the current Soul Arrow can penetrate shields and hit the opponent directly, to further enhance our ability to counter the threat of some formidable opponents. Then comes the escalation of Bone Spurs. Upgrade complete, consuming 450 pain points. Regarding Bone Spurs, Sun E chose the following effect. Bone Spurs. During flight, the Bone Spur fires a small Bone Spur every second at the nearest enemy, dealing 10% damage. These small Bone Spurs have a piercing effect and can repeatedly hit the same enemy, dealing magic damage. It is also a skill that significantly increases damage. The Bone Spikes have a very long targeting range. They can be released almost as soon as Blood Lotus can see the target. Therefore, the damage caused by the continuous release of small Bone Spurs during flight is cumulative, not to be underestimated. In this way, whether it's clearing out the weaklings or facing a powerful foe, Bone Spurs undoubtedly add to the threat. Then comes leveling up. This puts Sun E in a bit of a predicament. Blood Lotus's inspiration level is currently the lowest at the late stage of 2 stars. However, she has already increased her pain level twice. The next time you upgrade using pain points, it will cost 4,000 pain points. Although it's not much. However, when compared to other female ghosts, Tang Shi is a 4-star character in the early game and has only been upgraded once. Without considering bond points, the next upgrade will only require 1,000 pain points, even if it improves twice in a row. Reaching the late stage of 4 stars, it's only 3,000 points. In comparison, the same amount of money would obviously be more worthwhile invested in other female ghosts. But we can't just leave the Blood Lotus unattended. That's really awkward. What should we do? Sun E pondered. Yes, Blood Lotus is special. How could I have forgotten? As for the other female ghosts, side effects that occurred during the contract process. Most of these are similar rituals that must be performed, otherwise, there is no way to enter into a contract. But back when Blood Lotus made the contract, it's about sacrificing organs to strengthen herself. I still remember, back then, she was just a potential demon wandering around Hongbing Middle School. However, this occurred after Li Hongji's numerous organs were sacrificed. The level skyrocketed, instantly reaching the early stage of 2 stars. If we follow this line of thinking, resolve the issue of Blood Lotus's spiritual power level, that makes things very simple. All we need to do is wait for the next steps, practice the Blood Lotus, and develop our possession abilities. At that time, with a single possession, one could sacrifice the organs of 3 people. Moreover, they are all high-level ghost masters. Are you still worried about not being able to level up your inspiration level? In that case, after leaving the Great Library, I began preparing for the Blood Lotus possession training. That would solve the problem once and for all. Sun E finally came to a conclusion. With this, all preparations for the trip to the Great Library are now complete. Tomorrow, let's set off immediately. The Great Library Ghost Domain is located on the coast outside the Magic City. The portal's entrance is located on the beach. Same as last time. Sunny took a taxi directly here. Outside the enormous portal, a lone outpost stood. Wow, a beach! Inside Sun Yi's body, Ingming saw the surrounding environment and couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Unfortunately, although the coastal scenery here is quite nice. However, due to the existence of the ghost realm, it has not been developed or utilized. Naturally, it's impossible to visit here. Ingming asked Sun Yi excitedly. Brother Sun Yi, when we have time, can we come to the beach to play? They're quite sensible. They added a conditional restriction. I agree, Jiwoo chimed in. I want to try too, Tang Shi said slowly. Although I was born in Shanghai, a coastal city, but I've always lived and studied in town, and I've never once set foot on the beach. Sun Yi roughly gathered the opinions of the female ghosts. What's so special about that? Are classic swimsuits making a comeback? He couldn't help but think to himself, what am I complaining about? However, since everyone has their own ideas, let's think about it after we finish the task. However, summer is already over. It's almost autumn. Summer is definitely the best time to visit the beach, isn't it? Then, next summer? Ingming tentatively suggested. Next summer. Can. Sun Yi nodded in agreement. Yay! Sun Yi entered the outpost, making final preparations before entering the ghost realm. The threat level of this ghostly realm is much lower compared to the Shadow Castle. It is extremely rare for evil spirits in the ghost realm to go berserk and break out of the ghost realm. Or rather, it shouldn't be said that it's rare, such a thing has never happened. However, even if they manage to break through, it's not a big deal. The demons in the Great Library aren't that strong in combat, relatively speaking. After all, the main theme of these demons is books. Would you be afraid that a book ghost would jump onto your face and open a map of the surroundings to give you a fright? Here's another skill of the book ghost. The book ghost's first skill is to open the surrounding map. The second skill is name recognition. To be honest, it's a pretty useless skill. The effect is simple. It allows the book ghost to stare at a living being for a period of time. Get the other person's name. And it only has a name. There is no other information. This is arguably one of the few skills among female ghosts that is almost entirely useless. I just wonder what this skill will become after it's upgraded. In conclusion, the Great Library is far less threatening than Shadow Keep. Therefore, to save on costs and manpower, the government simply built a forward outpost on the outskirts of the main library. All you need to do is monitor the external state of the ghost realm. Just as Sun Yi finished preparing and was about to set off, a convoy of over 30 people arrived at the Grand Library in a grand procession. The people coming down from above were fully equipped and armed. They quickly crossed the outpost and lined up in a square formation in front of the portal entrance. One of the strongest fighters was a captain who was at the early stage of a 5-star level. After he finished lining up the team, he respectfully reported to a young man in his early 20s. Reporting to young Master Du, the team is assembled and ready to enter at any time. The young man known as young Master Du, Du Guangyuan, nodded in satisfaction. Okay, let's go in. To create a living map, you must collect as many book demon soul orbs as possible. Divide into 5 teams. 4 teams will enter, and 1 team will stay behind to guard the area and prevent others from getting in the way. Yes, shouted the team members. This group of people just kept talking to themselves. They also sealed off the ghost realm while they were at it. The 6-man squad left behind by Du Guangyuan thus guarded the entrance to the ghost realm teleportation portal. Those social exorcists at the outpost, preparing to enter the Great Library, were filled with questions. No. Who are you guys gossiping about? Do you own Ghost Domain? They just locked it down like that? As long as other social exorcists get close. These 6 people immediately began to drive them away. A group of demon slayers approached, and I was just about to ask what was going on. Get out of here. The Great Library Ghost Domain will be under our control for the next few days. No one is allowed to enter. But the group of demon slayers wanted to say something more. But they immediately summoned the contracted demons of the battle group members to attack. A skeleton archer emanating black energy draws its bow and shoots an arrow. They directly injured the person. Very fierce. When negotiations failed, the squad fled in a panic. Sun Yi took this opportunity to analyze the combat capabilities of these individuals. That contracted ghost is at the early game level of a 3-star unit. Then, judging from the spiritual energy emitted when that person summoned the contracted spirit, For stars in the early game, that's the best you can do. The other few people were probably in the mid to late stages of Samsung's development. If it's configured like this, Sun E quickly compared his own combat strength with that of his opponent in his mind. He absolutely had to go into this grand library today. The timing was all calculated. Moreover, that guy named Du Xiao from earlier. His goal was to kill as many book demons as possible. This won't do. You've killed them all. What contract did I make? Although the intense spiritual energy in the ghost realm will cause the number of evil spirits within it to gradually increase over time. But who knows how long this over time will take. Sun E couldn't possibly wait for these few people's unreasonable demands. However, Sun E doesn't even know much about the other party's situation right now. Taking action rashly could be disastrous. Why not ask them first? Just as Sun E was pondering, some people looked at the management personnel of the outpost with dissatisfaction. Hey, aren't you going to do anything about this? That's so domineering. How can they enter the ghost realm to kill ghosts and then prevent others from entering? Agers, however, answered with a blank expression. The outpost is only responsible for monitoring the exit of the ghost domain. Their actions did not violate any regulations. If you have any questions, go up and discuss them yourself. Just then, some observant individuals noticed the markings on the equipment of those warband members. Those are members of the Purgatory chapter. No wonder he's so domineering. Sun Yi was somewhat puzzled when he heard the name. It was as if they had noticed Sun Yi's confusion. The exorcist, who was explaining the situation, continued. Young man, is this the first time you've seen this group of people act like this? That's how they've always been. But you absolutely mustn't mess with or provoke them. After all, they're a well-known fighting force in Shanghai. We can't possibly contend with them on our own. As he spoke, the man glanced again in the direction of the entrance to the ghost realm. He sighed. Sigh, never mind. However, they'll only stay inside for 2 days at most. In the meantime, let's try our luck in other ghost realms. With that, the man left with his teammates. Similarly, other demon slayers began to leave one after another. After all, it's clearly unwise to provoke the infernal warband over such a trivial matter. Besides, even if I really wanted to provoke them, look at the enemy's combat strength. A guaranteed 3-star demon master with a maximum of 4 stars. Moreover, they are soldiers who have received systematic training within the battle group. These social exorcists are no match for them. Among demon tamers, the strongest are revered. Although the government will maintain general order. But what if you encounter such an unreasonable situation? It all comes down to whoever has the stronger fist. Right now, it's clear that the infernal warband is tougher. There's no way around that. Looking at everyone in the outpost, they all seemed clearly resentful but dared not step forward. The 4-star ghost master in the 6-person team. The squad leader, a cold smile curling at the corner of his lips, spoke. Hee. This group of idle social exorcists. There's nothing we can do but watch. With a powerful 4-star expert like me keeping things under control. Let's see who dares to come up now. As he pondered, he couldn't help but start daydreaming. With me keeping such close watch on them, no one will go in and disturb young Master Du. He was so happy that he gave me some 4-star soul beads. That person's potential for a breakthrough is now promising. Oh my, that's wonderful. Just as the squad leader was daydreaming, Sun Yi stood up and walked towards the teleportation portal. There's no way to resolve this. The conflict is irreconcilable. Sun Yi's goal is to make a contract with the book ghosts in the Great Library. However, Du Guangyuan's goal was to kill a large number of book ghosts and seize their soul pearls. That won't do. Just as Sun Yi was about to step forward, another group of reckless demon slayers decided to force their way into the demon realm. There was only one large man, followed by more than a dozen people. He possesses the potential to reach the late stages of a Samsung team. The team members following behind were also around 2 or 3 stars in strength on average. UF ********* G Warband. Others may fear you, but I think you're brain dead. Anyone who blocks my way, I'll take them all down. SKR. Although the leader of the Demon Slayers didn't seem to be very well educated, but strangely, his speech rhymed somewhat. However, his meaning was quite clear. They simply don't intend to leave obediently. The big man also had the advantage of having more people, and he wanted to use that to defeat the few people guarding the entrance. Actually, not everyone at the scene was giving up and leaving. There were quite a few people like the big man who wanted to take action. However, everyone is just watching and waiting. Or rather, they're waiting for someone to take the lead. They were not related to each other. They want to unite in a short period of time. Absolutely impossible. We must step forward and take on the challenge. They can basically only go in small teams. The big man's idea was indeed quite normal, although the overall quality of his team was not as good as those six. But the advantage is that there are many people. The two groups of people met up aggressively. Battle is about to break out. I had a premonition that something interesting might happen next. Sun E wasn't in a hurry to go on. If they can avoid taking action themselves, they can rely on the infernal chapter's blockade. Nature is the best. Thinking this, he sat down again. Inside the large library. Split up, kill all the book ghosts you encounter, and take the soul orb. Du Guangyuan gave the order. We'll return 2 days later and meet at the entrance to the ghost realm. After saying that, he led the strongest squad in the squad and began to move in one direction. Du Guangyuan's trip was to create a piece of equipment. Living map. That's right, it's the same style as the book ghost. However, the book ghost is, after all, a female ghost. He doesn't have the guts to make a contract. However, Du Guangyuan also coveted the powerful map information function of the book ghost. What should we do? It was the blacksmiths within the warband who gave him the idea. Although the contract book ghost had no guts. However, by killing a large number of book demons and using their soul beads to create the courage of living maps. Yes, and it's very big. Let's get started. The Great Library is outside the ghost realm. There were more than a dozen people lying on the ground. None of them are intact. They were either covered in blood or their limbs were twisted at strange angles. That's right. The burly group from earlier. The entire team was wiped out. This was completely unexpected by everyone. The burly man who stepped forward to challenge him collapsed so quickly. Even the inspirational power of these 6 people was depleted. It seems they haven't accomplished much. They were almost always defeated in one move. If this continues, it will only cause trouble. The demon slayers, who were initially eager to force their way into the Great Library, were now. They've become much more well-behaved. Maybe we should just leave. This huge library is best left unexplored. Really. To enter the Great Library, your party needs at least 1 3-star on Myoji. The various evil spirits in the ghost realm are roughly 3 or 4 stars in combat strength. Therefore, the social exorcists who can stand here are. There aren't any particularly strong ones. However, they have a choice. Sunny had no choice. He absolutely must get into the big library. As expected, I still have to pave the way myself. Sunny stood up rather reluctantly. He said to himself, if we just let the members of the Purgatory Battle Group run rampant, they'll wipe out all the book ghosts in the ghost realm. If I don't do it, I won't be able to complete my task. Since I can't rely on others, I'll take the lead. With that thought in mind, Sun E left the crowd alone and headed towards the teleportation portal. The group of people who had just taken on the challenge were still lying on the ground. They were still groaning in pain in the same spot. Is someone else going up to challenge? Still alone? Suddenly someone said that. It immediately attracted the attention of the entire outpost. Judging by his age, this kid should be a college student, right? He really doesn't have any teammates? Are college students this brave these days? Daring to descend into the ghost realm all by himself? Haha, this is going to be interesting. Just wait and see how those college students in their ivory towers get brutally beaten down by society. Some people said with schadenfreude. Comments. Previous he walked over. The squad leader grinned maliciously. You dare to come up here and force your way in all by yourself? Arrogant brat. After saying that, the squad leader summoned his contracted ghost. A large-headed ghost in the late game of a 3-star character. He was more than happy to have such a fool come up and get beaten up. Because in this way, it can be used as one's own performance record. This was his achievement, a demonstration of his worth to Du Guangyuan. If Du Xiao saw me, he would have stopped so many people. They'll definitely think I'm a hard worker and very responsible. Then comes the promotion and raise. The squad leader started indulging in his delusions again. Don't you dare lay a hand on him. I can handle this brat myself. The squad leader instructed the team members around him. They just wanted to claim all the credit for repelling the intruders. But in the eyes of others, indeed, that many people are not needed. After all, judging from the inspiration emanating from this young man. This is only the early stage of Samsung. They were no match for that squad leader at all. Just as everyone was pondering this, Sun E finally spoke. I want to go in. I can't let this, young master, do. You all talk about kill all the book demons. A simple and unadorned sentence. There was no emotion whatsoever. But to the squad leader, these words sounded like, that is an enormous provocation. Hearing Sun E say that, the squad leader was taken aback. They repeatedly probed the aura emanating from Sun E. Hiss. I'm thinking, this kid is definitely a Samsung early game player, right? When did Samsung's early game Oni master dare to talk to me like that? Are you getting cocky, kid, or has this old man lost his ability to wield a knife? He was just about to make a move and teach this arrogant brat a lesson. But his teammates reminded him. Squad leader, something's not right. This silly kid is a student at the Ghost University. They probably have powerful connections. They're not to be trifled with. Upon hearing this, the squad leader understood. I was wondering how such a brainless kid managed to get 3 stars. Oh, so it's the University of the Demon Slayers. Living in an ivory tower all the time, I bet you've never experienced a setback, right? But in this way, he is treated the same way that exorcists in society are treated. That's not really suitable either. Thinking of this, the squad leader continued speaking to Sunny. Since that's the case, consider yourself lucky, kid. I'll let you off this time. Now get out of here. After saying that, the squad leader withdrew his contracted ghost. He waved for Sunny to leave. This left the group of demon slayers at the outpost completely dumbfounded. One person who was expecting to see Sunny get a lesson was greatly disappointed. This isn't right? The team led by that late-stage 3-star Onmyoji was completely crushed. Why did they let this kid off the hook? Is this still the infernal chapter? You think you're like me? In this world, it's not just about skill. Connections matter too. You haven't noticed yet, have you? This young man is a 3-star ghost master. Just think about it. What kind of organization is capable of cultivating such a young 3-star Oni master? Neither Ghost Academy nor the Warband can be that bad. After this analysis by others, everyone gasped in surprise. Holy crap, it's true. No wonder he was so confident. But the opponent is, after all, the Infernal Battle Group. The forgiveness they just offered was probably the biggest concession they could make. If that kid still doesn't know what's good for him, he'll probably get a beating anyway. We're all seasoned veterans. In situations like this, one might encounter a prodigy cultivated by another faction. I definitely wouldn't dare to kill him. But give him a good beating, teach him a lesson. It's still acceptable. However, what this group of people didn't expect was, Sun E, you really don't know what's good for you today. I said I want to go in, you guys get out of the way. Sun E maintained his calm tone. It's as bland as saying, excuse me, in a crowded place. This sentence completely enraged the squad leader. You brat, didn't you hear me tell you to get lost? Do you really think our tolerance is limitless? Having said that, the squad leader unleashed his spiritual power. The strength of his inspiration ability in the early stages of a 4-star character is undeniable. At the same time, his main contracted spirit, a giant, armored skeleton wielding a sword, appeared. This is his strongest combat force, a 4-star early-game skeleton knight. It integrates offense and defense and has a balanced combat capability. Without saying anything more, they started fighting. The 2-meter-long sword of the skull slashed towards Sun E. Just then, a graceful figure appeared beside Sun E, wielding her sword to block the attack. Cling! The sound of metal clashing echoed along the entire coastline. As the smoke cleared, Tang Shi appeared. A female ghost? And both are early-game 4-star characters? The squad leader looked stunned. But they recovered quickly. Haha, I never expected to run into a silly boy with a contract with a female ghost. Instead of staying comfortably in the nursing home, this disabled person is actually thinking of going to the ghost realm? Sun ignored the squad leader's sarcastic remarks. After blocking the attack from the skull-like creature, Tang Shi immediately dodged and attacked it. A mountain of corpses and a sea of blood appeared, and crimson malevolent energy clung to her soul-chasing sword. The sword slashed swiftly at the skeleton's bones. 1 sword, 2 swords. Pfft. Bleeding abnormalities accumulate to a threshold. The skeleton of the sword suddenly burst forth with a large amount of blood. Everyone present was stunned. No, that's AF asterisk 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 G skeleton, a pile of bones. Where did all this blood come from? Only the squad leader didn't have the energy to complain, because he could clearly feel it. This female ghost possesses incredibly powerful slashing abilities. Even the skeleton with the sword can't hold on much longer. The squad leader was drenched in sweat. That's only 2 sword strikes. His own skeletal sword and the other's female ghost. They are clearly at the same level. Their combat strength should be similar. What's going on? Look again at the spot where the skull was slashed. The bone, which was as hard as an alloy, now showed faint cracks. This sent a chill down the squad leader's spine. If this continues, we're going to lose. What are you looking at? Get to work, the squad leader shouted at his team members. Huh? Captain, you don't want your performance record anymore. What's with all this talk about performance? If I have to do everything myself, what's the point of having you all? Don't always think about what the battle group can do for you. Think more about what you can do for the warband. In short, get on it now. Even at this point, the squad leader still wasn't forgetting to manipulate his underlings. When victory is achieved, the credit naturally belongs to him alone. But what if you can't win? Calling for reinforcements is only natural. Sun E wasn't stupid enough to think that his opponent would actually just play one-on-one. However, based on the estimation just now, these members of the battle group are of average talent. They are all people who can only control one contracted ghost in battle. No one can operate on multiple fronts simultaneously. In that case, on Sun Yi's side, in terms of the number of combatants, they weren't too far behind. The remaining 5 team members then revealed their respective contracted spirits. The spectators at the outpost not far away couldn't help but worry about Sun Yi. Oh no, oh no! That young man might actually be quite skilled in one-on-one combat. But this isn't a school arena. He's likely to be surrounded and attacked. College students are like that. They lack social experience. That's not necessarily true, I've heard that before. Some of the most skilled students at the demon-controlling university can control 2 contracted demons simultaneously. Hey, what's the use of 2? There are 6 of them on the other side. Even a genius among geniuses can control 3 contracted ghosts simultaneously. There aren't enough places to fight. You can't just say this kid. Could he be as powerful as Ling Xian, the top ghost tamer, controlling 5 contracted ghosts at once, host masters from the Purgatory Battle Group, controlling their contracted ghosts, surrounded Sun E? Kid, you've angered me. You're not leaving here today without leaving a trace. The squad leader roared in fury. Since joining the Infernal Chapter, he's the one who always causes trouble for others. Why should I let others cause me trouble? Oh dear. He actually ran into something like this today. The main reason was actually out of anger and embarrassment. He discovered that he couldn't even defeat a level 3 early stage on Myoji. If word got out, wouldn't my colleagues in the battle group laugh at me? This won't do. Therefore, even if it's dishonorable, even if it involves being besieged, I'm determined to get back the face I've lost. Listen up. My sword-wielding skeleton will hold off that female ghost. You all hurry up and take her down. From the squad leader's perspective, Sun E relied on the female ghost wielding a long sword to act arrogantly. In terms of the quality of a single contracted ghost, he admitted that he was indeed inferior to Sun E. However, a slightly stronger contracted ghost. In this situation, what kind of function can it serve? There are so many of them. Forehead. Didn't someone else just say that? Never mind. No matter what. This battle involves 6 people, 6 contracted spirits, against 1 person and 1 contracted spirit. The advantage is in my hands. The squad leader issued the order. Let's do it. In the blink of an eye, Ing Meng, wearing a black dress, appeared behind Sun E. The next moment, one of the opposing demon tamers fell asleep immediately. The other person was imprisoned in another dimension. In just one exchange, they were able to deprive the opponent of 2 of their demon-controlling masters' combat power. After all, this is not a friendly and polite competition. It was a real, no-holds-barred battle. Rather than controlling the contracted spirit, directly controlling the demon master's body is definitely more cost-effective. Thus, standing in front of Sun Yi, including the squad leader, there are only 4 people left, along with their 4 contracted ghosts. Ji Woo. Finish this quickly. Sun E gave the order. Leave it to me, your older sister. A charming and delicate voice rang out. Then, a figure as swift as a black lightning bolt rushed out from beside Sun E. Simultaneously activate the flame gem within her body, as well as her third skill, Wrathful Strike. Before the other party could react, Jiwoo had already arrived beside them. Boom! Her fist slammed into the chest of a demon slayer who was standing at the front. The punch, delivered with the speed of a cannonball, sent the man flying several meters backward. Before the person could even scream, they had already lost consciousness. Holy crap! He can control ghosts. And it seems to be a female ghost. Inside the outpost, gasps of surprise rippled through the crowd. One with a sword, one that suddenly appeared, one that looked like a girl, and this one in a nun's habit. 3 now. This person can actually control 3 contracted ghosts at the same time. And they're all female ghosts. Such a thing was unheard of for these social exorcists. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, almost no one would believe it. Someone has made a pact with 3 female ghosts. Not only did he not become disabled, but he also possessed such formidable fighting power. Where did this monster come from? Jiwoo's speed far exceeded the expectations of the Purgatory Battle Team members. Because they can only control 1 contracted ghost at a time. Therefore, when their contracted ghosts surrounded Sun E in front, there is no way to summon another contracted spirit to protect oneself. This gave Sun E an opportunity. Boom! Another demon slayer was sent flying with a single punch. That power was something even Gang Ying, with her strong defensive abilities, feared. It strikes the human body. The results speak for themselves. Jiwoo once again gave people the feeling of flying. Besides the squad leader, there's only one other person left who still has combat capabilities. He was also feeling immense pressure at this moment. This is an unprecedentedly critical situation. Even when following the battle group into the extremely dangerous ghost realm to fight against those 4-star or even 5-star great evil ghosts. I've never seen anything like this before. The front row was breached, and then at the moment of the breach, 2 of our demon slayers have already fallen. Damn it. The man stopped carrying out the order to surround Sun E. He then quickly summoned back his contracted spirit to protect his true form. The victory belongs to the captain, but his life is his own. 30 soul beads a month? Why risk your life like that? Instinct ultimately triumphed over duty. Even with the protection of the contracted spirit, Jiwoo's offensive actions did not stop at all. She launched a fierce and relentless attack on the contracted ghost that was blocking her way. Thump 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 thump. 5 punches were thrown, severely injuring the contracted ghost. Ultimately, aside from the squad leader, this entire Infernal Chapter squad, completely incapacitated. The squad leader sighed. His skeletal sword was still entangled with Tang Shi. Although Tang Shi's combat strength is above that of Dao Kolu, however, since they're of the same level, it is still quite difficult to completely crush them in a short period of time. Seeing this, the squad leader couldn't help but shout. Go quickly. I've already held off their strongest fighter, you guys hurry. Huh? The squad leader glanced left and right. Holy crap? Am I the only one left? At the same time, a slender but powerful forearm wrapped around the squad leader's neck from behind. Don't move around, or I might break your neck. Jiwoo's voice came from behind the squad leader. No, really? My team was wiped out? His attention was focused on controlling the sword-wielding skeleton. They didn't even notice Jiwoo breaking through the defenses. The squad leader had no choice but to order the skeleton with the knife to stop. Just then, the demon tamer, banished by Shadow Dream, returns from another dimension. The moment I returned, a sharp headache struck. Ouch! Ugh, what's wrong? My head hurts so much. I'll treat you. Gang Ying suddenly appeared. He activated his blade armor and used his sturdy avatar shield to smash it onto the head of the person who had just returned from another dimension. Bang! Before the man could react, he was knocked unconscious again. If you faint, you naturally won't feel any pain, right? Until everything settles down. The demon slayer, who had been haunted by the nightmare, finally awoke. Who I am? Where did I come from? Where are we going? Feeling groggy from sleep, he posed 3 philosophical questions. But when he saw the situation clearly, and the 2 female ghosts, Shui Lian and Gang Ying, surrounding him, being very sensible, he raised both hands. I surrender. I surrender. Do you think surrendering will save you from being beaten? Ganging sneered, then slammed her table-sized avatar shield down hard. Bang! That person was also knocked unconscious. In this way, this is a 6-person team. They were all defeated. A swift and decisive battle. Sun E truly lived up to that saying. Either don't fight at all, or if you do fight, you must win overwhelmingly. The first battle is the decisive battle. Really. The 6 members of the Purgatory chapter. He really took them all down by himself. At the outpost, the social exorcists who were watching couldn't help but sigh in amazement. No one expected it. Sun E only possessed the strength of Samsung in its early stages. They actually made a contract with such a powerful demon. And you can control them simultaneously. They had initially expected an overwhelming battle. It refers to the Purgatory battle group overwhelming Sun E. Unexpectedly, it turned out the other way around. It was Sun E who chased after the 6 opponents and attacked them. In front of Sun E. Even in a very precarious situation. All members are incapacitated. He was also being manipulated by the other party's contracted spirit, and his life could be taken away at any moment. But he still maintained the dedication of a villain. Still being stubborn. Kid, you've angered the infernal warband. You won't get away with this. Let me go, then leave this place. There's still room for things to turn around. Sun E was utterly speechless. No. They fought it to this extent. Is there still room for maneuver in the market? Besides, who do you think you are? If I truly let you go, will you let me go in the future? If we follow the classic trope of villains attracting hatred in online novels. Hiss. Oh, right. Sun E suddenly had a good idea. His list of side effects hasn't changed in a long time. They always tormented Gao Ba and his gang. It's about time we had someone else take over. What's your name? Huan-san. What's the full name of that young master you were talking about? You'll be shocked if I told you. Du Xiao is the beloved son of the leader of the Purgatory battle group, Du Guangliang. Oh? Interesting. Sun Yi's eyes lit up. What is the name of the leader of the Purgatory warband? When the name of the battle group leader was mentioned, the squad leader raised his head, full of pride. Our regimental commander's name is Du Tung. In his view, Sun E was clearly intimidated by the reputation of the Purgatory battle group. The group has earned a reputation for its past victories. You won't have to worry about not being respected. Okay, Jiwoo, let him go. After silently noting down these names, Sun E gave the order. Squad leader Huan-san was overjoyed. Haha, he was scared after all. You're smart to know what's good for you. Since you're so sincere, I'll let bygones be bygones regarding your past attacks on me. Although Huan and his 2 companions were in a sorry state. But he spoke as if he were the victor. After all, in his view, Sun E simply didn't dare to hit him. Since that's the case, why not take this opportunity to extort money from them? Besides, even if Sun E obediently leaves now, when Du Xiao comes out, he will still report it. The report naturally became about how he fought desperately to repel Sun E. You can enjoy another round of rewards within the battle group. Then his eyes turned greedy and he changed the subject. But my brothers got beaten. I cannot forgive you on their behalf. Okay then, I won't ask you for more. 83-star soul beads, that's the end of it. Sun E. Damn it, I was about to let you go. Am I being too lenient with you? Jiwoo, standing behind Huan-san, received instructions. A chop to the neck. Knock him unconscious. Although I was very angry. But keeping Huan-san alive is still useful. After all, who would want to avoid experiencing pain? After confirming that these individuals are incapacitated and will not launch a sneak attack, Sun E prepared to formally enter the main library. Master, I found this on them. Blood Lotus handed over a list. The above is the list of personnel dispatched by the Purgatory chapter this time. There were 35 people in total. The name and position were written clearly. Oh. Sun Yi's eyes lit up. If this thing exists. Sun E had a bold idea. I still have more than 10 uneaten 4-star soul beads in my pocket. I feel like I'll be able to earn a lot of pain points this time. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Sun E opened his system. Sun E. Pain level, 25,100. Side effects, 1 time omitted. Side effect, persistent projectile damage reduced by 50%. The uncrowned champion's fury, he's bound to lose his temper when questioned. The projectile's flight speed is reduced by 50%. At a random time each day, A ghost truck will spawn nearby and strike the bound person. Every time I sleep, I inevitably have nightmares, and the severity depends on the number of times the nightmare ghost unleashes its abilities that day. Cramps are inevitable if you engage in strenuous activity. Side effect transfer targets: Gaoba, Luo Yuan Liang, Xiao Jianren, maximum of 3. Increasing the limit requires 10,000 pain points. It's time to raise the transfer limit. After all, there are 35 lucky people lined up to transfer the side effects. If there are only 3 spots available, it wouldn't be good to keep people waiting too long. Sun Yi thought to himself. Consumes 10,000 pain points, adds 2 side effect transfer slots. Confirm. Confirm. Upgrade successful. Current transfer targets: Gaoba, Luo Yuan Liang, Xiao Jianren, maximum 5 people. Increasing the maximum requires 50,000 pain points. Sun Yi cancelled the spots for Gaoba, Luo Yuan Liang, and Xiao Jianren. Change it to a member of the squad that fought you just now. Except for the squad leader named Huansan, everyone else was tied up. Unlike those 3 veteran lucky ones, these low-level fry don't need to be involved in anything that promises long-term gains. We'll build it all at once, with all our might. Pain points, earn as much as you can. If one dies, the next one takes its place. The list that Sun Yi currently has is: there are 35 people. There's no worry about finding customers. However, Sun Yi looked around. Those social exorcists are still watching me. If I swallow the soul pearl in public like this, it's easy for them to become suspicious. It's already linked anyway. As for transferring the side effects, let's wait until we enter the ghost realm and are no one watching us before proceeding. With that thought in mind, Sun Yi recalled all the female ghosts and stepped into the portal of the Great Library. The surroundings were gradually enveloped in white light. Sun Yi continued walking forward. A moment later, the surrounding scenery changed instantly. The scorching sea breeze along the coast has disappeared. Instead, there was a dark, dry, dusty smell. And all around them, it's an endless, towering bookshelf. Look up. You can't even see the tops of these bookshelves. At the same time, there are various kinds of rustic staircases above, connected to each other like a spider web. Some bookshelves are even completely free from the constraints of gravity. It stands horizontally on a high wall. In addition, there are various climbing frames and walkways surrounding the numerous bookshelves. They were combined to form something similar to floors. In short, under severe spatial folding. Sun Yi was already dazzled just by stepping through the portal. I looked closely at the bookshelf next to me. It was filled with all sorts of books with strange and unusual writing on them. This is the ghost realm of the Great Library. Sun Yi sighed. Upon entering the ghost realm, Sun Yi released his 5 female ghosts. It truly lives up to its reputation. There are indeed many books. Tang Shi said, looking around. Blood Lotus. Eh? Blood Lotus, you still don't feel anything. Ganging teased. Look, this place is full of books. Chaos cannot be deciphered. Blood Lotus shook her head. In the Great Library, all the books are written in some kind of ancient script. There is currently no way to decipher it. There are quite a few research-oriented demon slayers. Sun Yi's teacher, Bai Yongfeng, was one of them. However, most scholars focus their research on how to utilize evil spirits. How to better utilize the capabilities of the contract ghost. After all, this is the only thing directly related to the strength of a ghost master. There are very few scholars who actually study the ghost realm. Furthermore, there are still so many ghost realms in the world that have not been fully explored. A scholar who is able to care about one of the great libraries in the ghost realm and spend a lot of time studying the texts within it. That's even rarer. Besides, this is, after all, a ghost realm. It is quite common to find objects that mimic the human world. Based on feedback from demon slayers who have previously entered the Great Library for training, the number of books in this ghost realm is incalculable. Many people speculated. These are the things on the bookshelf. Is it really a book? Or is it merely an ornament generated by the ghost realm? What if someone really did spend a lot of time and effort researching this for most of their life? The final conclusion is, the text here is all scribbled nonsense. That would be really fun. Alright, let's begin creating the soul beads now. Sun Yi took out a 4-star soul bead from his spatial ring. In the ghost realm, and especially in this ghost realm where spaces overlap significantly, it's virtually impossible for anyone to discover it. He swallowed a soul pearl. Received 200 pain points from Baiguan. Received 200 pain points from Yufeng Mao. Received 200 pain points from Lu Ping. Received 200 pain points from Shi Kaoxing. Received 200 pain points from Yi Xiongchen. These are the henchmen of the Purgatory Battle Group who just fought Sun Yi. Their inspiration, at best, only reached the late stage of the 3-star level. It's simply impossible to withstand the severe side effects of directly consuming a 4-star soul bead. Beyond the Ghost Realm, Captain Huansen was hurriedly leading his men back to the Purgatory Battle Group headquarters to report on Sun Yi's situation. Suddenly, "Ugh!" Screams of agony came from around him. Huansen's team members suddenly vomited blood, their limbs convulsed, and they were in great pain. Everyone had the same ailment. "What's going on? What are you doing?" Huansen asked. But no one had time to answer him. The immense pain from consuming the soul pearl rendered his teammates completely speechless. Don't have G scare me. Such a synchronized onset of symptoms, are you guys faking it? Huansen cursed. After saying this, he went to the nearest team member to check on his condition. Captain, help me." "Ugh." The team member cried for help and then spat out another mouthful of blood. It sprayed all over Huansen's face. Holy crap. Huansen quickly took a few steps back. The blood-stained face testified to the reality of it all. It's all real blood that's being sprayed. No one can act that well, right? Moreover, what frightened him was, we don't even know what illness the other person has. If it's contagious, we're doomed. Sun Yi activated the space beacon and put it on his wrist. With this, the space around you will temporarily not fold. When you need to return, follow the directions on the beacon. Then you can safely leave this ghostly realm. His 5 female ghosts, in a pre-rehearsed formation, stood near Sun Yi. Explore a little further ahead. Really? Under the influence of spatial folding, Sun Yi only advanced about 10 meters. At the next corner, a winding, twisting staircase suddenly appears. The stairs lead to a lower level. This is truly the first time I've ever seen such a peculiar sight. Sun Yi couldn't help but sigh. Keep moving forward. However, Sun Yi explored forward for almost half an hour. We gained absolutely nothing. Not a single ghost was found. Damn it, those guys from the Purgatory Warband, they went way too far. It's like hunting down demons by scanning maps. Sun Yi cursed. Of the 4 teams that entered the Great Library, only the one led by Du Guangyuan was among them. The remaining teams have similar combat strength and configurations to the team outside the Ghost Realm. Each time Sun Yi descends into the Ghost Realm, he must first form a contract with a target female ghost. Obtaining soul orbs by defeating evil spirits is naturally essential. However, almost none of the areas Sun Yi passed through could be found to be ghosts. "No, we definitely won't catch up at this rate," Sun Yi said, shaking his head. "I have to find a way to make the ghosts in here come to me. The evil spirits in this Ghost Realm are roughly at the 3 or 4-star combat power level. If that's the case, use the pain points to upgrade the current female ghosts again. Then create a big commotion, deliberately triggering a ghost tide. There are these 35 consumables on the list. You basically don't have to worry about not having enough pain points. Moreover, it can form a perfect cycle." Sun Yi triggered a ghost tide, killing ghosts and obtaining soul pearls. Then he swallowed the soul bead to increase his strength and incidentally gain pain points. The pain points gained are directly used to strengthen the female ghost. The female ghost has become stronger, allowing her to reap even greater rewards amidst the ghost tide. Perfect. So, these 2 female ghosts will be the main fighting force in the upcoming battle. Jiwu and Tengxi. Let's level them up first. Sun Yi currently has 16,100 points of pain. Then, Jiwu never used pain points to level up. Tengxi has been upgraded once. Based on the previous pattern of pain point consumption, the first upgrade costs 500 pain points, the second 1,000, and so on. Each time the consumption is twice that of the previous one. This is how it's calculated. Like Jiwu, who has never leveled up. It upgraded 3 levels in one go, from mid 4-star to mid 5-star. Only 3,500 pain points are needed. Extremely high cost-performance ratio. On Tengxi's side, although it has already been upgraded once. However, her affinity rating is the highest, with a 30% discount. From the early stage of 4 stars, It rose 3 levels in a row to reach the early stage of 5 stars. It only requires 4,900 pain points. Relatively speaking, the cost is not high. That way, I can have 2 5-star female ghosts. You must know that if a 5-star evil spirit escapes the ghost realm, but it could destroy an entire town by itself. What's more, Sun E is holding a female ghost. Even stronger combat power. Its value speaks for itself. Then let's upgrade their levels according to this plan. Sun E was operating the system. Spend 3,500 pain points to raise the spiritual ability of Martial Cultivator Jiwoo to mid 5-star. With a reduction of 10 points of bond points, the final cost was 3,150 pain points. Spend 7,000 pain points to raise Tang Shi's Inspiration Strength to early 5-star. With a reduction of 30 points of bond points, the final cost was 4,900 pain points. Upgrade complete. Seeing this information, Sun E was full of confidence. Great, now it's time to go all out. Ing Meng blinked, as if she had discovered something. Sun E plans to lead Tang Shi and Gang Ing on a killing spree. He was just about to have his female ghosts deploy in formation. For some reason, the petite Ing Meng suddenly froze on the spot. Xiao Meng, what's wrong? Tang Shi, who was standing next to him, asked gently. I suddenly had a very special feeling. What does it feel like? Sun E asked, somewhat curious. I feel that time in our world has been paused. My time, the time of my other sisters, and even the time of my master brother were all stopped. The time frame should be close to 5 months, right? Ing Meng closed her eyes, carefully sensing the strangeness around her, and then spoke. She possesses the ability to banish other people to other dimensions. As we all know, time and space are inseparable. Therefore, although she does not have time-related skills, however, they also possess some vague ability to perceive changes in time. In particular, the temporal variation of perceived anomalies. Sun E. But what if everyone's time stopped? So, after all that back and forth, hasn't it been practically never stopped? Furthermore, why was the period of suspension 5 months? Is this time span related to something? It is currently unknown. Forget it, I'd better not think about these things anymore. This has little to do with my next goals. Next, we're going to have to grind our pain points really hard. This was the first time Sun E had received so many consumables, and at the same time, the ghosts in the dungeon were giving him inspiration. It's an excellent training room. This is the last time I've had such a great practice room. It seems like it was still in White Mist Town, where the Claw Demon was helping Gang Ing level up her skills. Never mind, let's begin. Sun E looked at Gang Ing. Alright. Gang Ing laughed heartily, activating her skill at the same time. The ghost truck is calling. This time, the original truck was summoned. After all, this is a library. A pile of paper books. If ignited, it would create a massive fire that would engulf the entire ghost realm. This will also affect Sun Yi's research. Rumble, 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 rumble. A semi-transparent, 100-ton king truck was summoned from a distance by Gang Ing. Along the way, countless bookshelves and cabinets were smashed. Broken pieces of wood and pages of books were sent flying everywhere by the impact. Cling! Gang Ing rammed into it, knocking the ghost truck away. They smashed bookshelves along the way. If it were someone else. To make such a commotion in the ghost realm, that's practically the same as courting death. This would trigger a massive surge of ghosts. The evil spirits roaming the Great Library are roughly between early 3-star and mid 4-star in strength. The main threatening evil spirit is a type that calls itself a librarian. They were dressed in classic academic gowns and held staffs in their hands. When encountering a demon tamer exploring the ghost realm, they would all rush at you shouting things like, "Protect the Great Library." Therefore, they were called guardian ghosts. What? You ask me why I don't call myself the librarian ghost? Don't you think the name is too long? At the same time, it was precisely because of what these guardian ghosts said. This ghostly realm was also named the Great Library. Otherwise, which expert would come up with such a slightly childish name? They chatted and laughed. The commotion Gang Ing made has already attracted quite a few of the guard ghosts. These guardian ghosts possess both ranged and melee combat abilities. If they are far away, they will use their staffs to unleash ray attacks with some tracking ability. If it's close by, they can also directly strike people with their staffs. Don't underestimate this kind of tapping. The damage is considerable. Unfortunately, these guardian ghosts were not female ghosts. Otherwise, Sun E would have wanted to form a contract with them. In short, hordes of guardian ghosts have now emerged. Protect the Great Library. Drive out the invaders. They shouted slogans and charged toward Sun E. Jiwoo, Gang Ing, you two charge at the guard ghosts on the outer perimeter. Tang Shi, you protect me and Blood Lotus Shadow Dream from the inside. Sun E immediately gave the instructions. Clear. Upon receiving the order, the female ghosts immediately began to deploy according to the formation they had practiced hundreds of times in the past. Jiwoo, a martial arts cultivator who had reached the mid-stage of the 5th star level, activated the fiery gem within her body. Cool. Her body immediately became burning hot. Tiny sparks flew from her body. Bright flames began to appear on her nun's habit. Ahem. Be careful with fire. Sun E reminded him. Oh dear, I almost forgot that fire can't be used. Jiwoo chuckled twice, then stopped activating the flame gem. However, even without the fire gem, as a 5-star evil spirit, her fighting prowess is no joke. She activated her instant step skill, her body becoming a blur as she charged into the enemy ranks. Bang! With just one punch, he easily smashed the skull of a guard ghost. One punch, one kill. In addition, there's her own passive skill. He can heal himself every 3 attacks, even if you get ganged up on and beaten up in the ghost tide. It also allows for a quick recovery from injuries. Moreover, this kind of recovery effect does not require consuming inspiration energy. All you need to do is beat them up. It's practically a perpetual motion machine. Now, some people might ask, hey streamer, even though Jiwoo's attack power is very high, he can take down one person with one punch. However, I still feel that the efficiency is a bit low. Are there more efficient ways to kill enemies? Some brothers, some. Jiwoo, activate Wrathful Strike. Sun E gave the order. Receive. After activating the Wrathful Strike skill, Jiwoo's attack speed becomes even faster, transforming into a rapid 5-hit combo. Additionally, after the 5th attack, it can also create a shockwave that deals area of effect damage. Although the area of effect damage it causes isn't too much. But hey, this is an attack from a mid-stage 5-star demon. For these mid-game level guardian ghosts, it's simply unbearable. The difference in skill level is a full 2 major grades. Even a slight bump or scratch will almost certainly result in death or serious injury. Of course, it's worth mentioning that Sun Yi's team has the strongest area of effect attack. That would have to be Gang Ing. Even though the ghost tanker truck could not be used for detonation due to space limitations. Even with the ghost truck's repeated ramming, it can still cause massive casualties. Most importantly, it's Gang Ying's passive effect, actively directing attacks to hit yourself. After 10 attacks, a ghost truck summon will be automatically triggered for free once. When Sun E first acquired the skill, he knew it was a ridiculously powerful monster-slaying ability. This is the first time it has been used in practice. The guardian ghosts continued to pour out from all directions. However, Jiwoo and Gang Ing alone were enough to stop more than 80% of the guardian demons. The remaining fugitives were all eliminated by Tang Shi. Blood Lotus and Shadow Dream had almost nothing to do. Especially Ingming. She only has crowd control abilities. Moreover, they are all controlled individually. Blood Lotus is similar. Although her bone spear has been upgraded, it now possesses considerable area of effect attack capabilities. However, her rank is low. In terms of efficiency, it has the destructive power of unleashing multiple skills. Jiwoo might as well have gone up and thrown a punch. The 2 women could only watch helplessly as their teammate carried them to victory. It's all right, you two have more important tasks to do now, Sunny said, seemingly noticing their embarrassment. Huh? What? What mission are we assigned? Ingming asked with great anticipation upon hearing that she also had a mission. Sunny smiled and took out a deck of cards from behind his back. Play cards with me. Gang Ing and Tang Shi, the 3 female ghosts, are almost perfectly capable of handling this ghost tide. In addition, they are capable of acting independently. Most of the buffs that needed to be activated have been activated. Sun E did not need to give any further instructions. Instead, use other demon slayers. Even those ghost masters of a higher rank than Sun E. Controlling 3 demons at once to deal with the demon horde. Trying to do 3 things at once would probably leave you drenched in sweat by now. If we had an accident or a mishap in coordination, They might even get injured or overwhelmed and beaten to death by the ghost horde. That's how it is. The others need several people to work together to deal with the horde of ghosts as if facing a formidable enemy. Sun Yi even had the leisure to invite Shuai Lian and Ying Meng to play cards for amusement. A three of a kind with a pair. I have 2 cards left. Blood Lotus played her card expressionlessly. Sun Yi looked at the cards in his hand, his face showing difficulty. Holy crap, he would never have imagined that. Blood Lotus is so fierce at cards. For some reason, it seemed as if she could see right through Sun Yi's thoughts every time she played a card. Although it is true that a demon slayer and their contracted demon can communicate in this way. But Sun Yi pondered for a long time. I haven't opened a mind connection with the Blood Lotus either. In fact, as the owner of the Blood Lotus, Sun Yi can view Blood Lotus's perspective unilaterally at any time through the mental connection, using this method to secretly peek at the cards. However, as a demon slayer, he couldn't beat his own contracted ghost at cards. Then they even used telepathy to cheat by seeing the cards. Don't you think it's tragic to do this? Master, you should only have a pair of royal flushes and a pair of 2s in your hand right now, right? Blood Lotus suddenly said. Seeing Sun Yi's surprised expression, she continued. I'm sorry to have spoiled the master's mood. But for me, such games are just about probability calculations. Just play the cards that have the highest probability of winning. I miscalculated. Sun Yi had forgotten that Shuai Lian also had this academic genius persona. After all, he graduated from Hungbing Middle School. He's practically a polymath, except for English. In addition, she had gone to class with Sun Yi almost every day at school. I usually spend my free time reading in my study. I imagine there must be quite a few books on mathematics and probability among them, right? Tisk, one more round. Sun Yi decisively conceded defeat. Your underwear has been seen through. What else is there to say? As he spoke, he shuffled the cards and swallowed a soul bead. Jiwu, Gang Ying, and Tang Shi's battle, although they didn't use many skills. However, inspiration still takes a toll. Look up and take a look at the situation ahead. Yes, the guardian ghosts are still so numerous that there's no end in sight. The ghost tide won't end anytime soon. If it could be ended so easily, the exorcists wouldn't consider it the most dangerous ghost realm event. However, such an event is a nightmare for other demon slayers. For Sun Yi, this is incredibly good news. They wish the ghost tide could last for 3 days and 3 nights without ending. Receive 200 pain points from Too Lazy to Name Number 1. Receive 200 pain points from Too Lazy to Name Number 2. Receive 200 pain points from Too Lazy to Name Number 3. As Sun Yi swallowed the soul bead, a series of pain-level messages appeared. The demon tamers who fought Sun Yi on the beach outside the Great Library. I don't know how long ago it was, but it was killed by the side effects of consuming the soul pearl. This batch is new consumables. Since there's plenty of consumables available now, Sun Yi has become too lazy to pursue sustainable development. It smells so good. It's delicious. Ying Meng, sneak out and pick up the soul pearl again. Received. Mission accomplished. Ying Meng gave Sun Yi a standing salute, then jogged off to collect the soul beads. The Guardian Ghost's level is between early and mid 3 stars. Therefore, the dropped soul orb was naturally a 3-star soul orb. At this moment, the ground was littered with scattered 3-star soul beads. That's quite exaggerated. If he swallows it all, Sun Yi might be able to directly reach the late-stage 3-star level in this ghost realm, or even fast-forward to the 4-star Ghost Master. Super practice room. The ghost tide is so exhilarating. Sun Yi exclaimed sincerely. As the saying goes, some are happy while others are sad. Sun Yi, on the other hand, was enjoying a blissful experience with the fully automated female ghosts. Let's take a look at the progress of the artificial team's Demon Slayer. The so-called artificial intelligence team. That naturally refers to Du Guangliang and his henchmen. Damn it, who started this ghost tide? Du Guangliang was furious and started cursing. The surrounding guards each controlled their contracted spirits to fight against the oncoming horde of spirits. I don't know why. A tremendous roar suddenly appeared in the distance. This is due to the folding of space. Even sounds coming from afar were dispersed within the folded space. It sounds like it came from all directions. But in any case, it is certain. There's a monstrous whale that's caused a huge commotion in the ghost realm. Although, in general, This tide of guardian ghosts will rush towards the area that caused the disturbance. Even the sheer volume of ghosts at the edge of the ghost tide was more than enough to give Du Guangliang and his men a run for their money. Fortunately, the team has a 5-star early game leader as a safety net. Otherwise, Du Guangliang's team would likely be in grave danger. Pfft. Suddenly, one of the ghost masters standing next to Du Guangliang coughed up blood and collapsed, his limbs convulsing. With the demon tamer unconscious, his contracted spirit is naturally unable to fight. With his fall, the defense began to falter. What's going on? Du Guangliang frowned. How could a perfectly healthy person suddenly start vomiting blood? Du Guangliang didn't seem to care much about whether the player lived or died. The main problem is, he collapsed. My life or death is in danger. Captain Liao, what's going on? Du Guangliang looked at the strongest member of the team. That's the team leader who's at the early stage of a 5-star level. I'm not entirely sure. Normally, this symptom is caused by a surge in the body's spiritual energy that the body can't handle. This usually appears on fools who swallow soul beads whole. Captain Liao was simultaneously controlling 2 contracted ghosts, desperately slaying the approaching guard ghosts, and said this. Even while controlling 2 contracted spirits, one can still have the mind to talk to other people. This Captain Liao truly lives up to his reputation as a 5-star ghost master. Swallow the soul pearl alive? Du Guangliang was utterly puzzled. Those who can enter the purgatory were banned. Moreover, he is a 3-star ghost master. Surely no one would be that stupid? Besides, I didn't see him swallow the soul pearl. It could also be an attack method used by certain special evil spirits. Curses, poisoning, or even ranged mental attacks are all possibilities. Team leader Liao continued to speculate. But regardless, today is a special day for Du Guangliang. What terrible luck! Ants evil spirits began to appear within the ghost tide. His name was Captain of the Guards. As the name suggests, they are the elite among these guardian ghosts. Their size wasn't much larger than the other guardian ghosts. Only the color of the graduation gown he was wearing had become brighter. I don't know who designed it. Isn't it obvious at a glance? Ahem, Master, I'm finding these guard captains' attacks a bit too much for me. Ganging from the front lines sent a request for help. The guard captain's inspiration level is in the early stages of 4 stars. Their ray attacks, while not enough to break Gang Ying's defenses in one strike. But its advantage lies in the sheer number of them. Even though Gang Ying had already withstood a lot of attacks with her avatar's shield. However, some fragments of her armor still peeled off. Jiwu was also actively prioritizing the elimination of the guard captains, but the efficiency was still not quite enough. Sun Yi, do you need me to go help out on the outer perimeter? Tang Shi pleaded. Okay, go ahead. Blood Lotus, you've joined the battle too. Sun Yi gave the order. As for illusions, ghosts, and dreams, it can only be said that everyone has their own area of expertise. Her ability is ultimate control over a single individual. However, in this situation, it's not very effective. They can only stay in the very middle of the line. Under Sun Yi's command, Tang Shi activated the Mountain of Corpses and Sea of Blood effect. He joined the battle to clear the ghost tide, his sword energy imbued with blood. Blood Lotus then began unleashing a massive amount of soul arrows and bone spikes at the ghost tide. With the previous upgrades in place, Blood Lotus's attacks now resemble machine gun fire. Da-da-da-da. A single soul arrow doesn't deal very high damage. But there are so many. In addition, and importantly, these attacks all have side effects. The system is reporting an increasing frequency of pain levels, and it's getting higher and higher. Furthermore, the spiritual energy was consumed by the 2 additional female ghosts. Sun Yi can now consume soul beads more frequently, although it is said that a ghost master can absorb soul beads at any time. However, compared to absorbing full of inspirational energy, naturally, consuming inspiration energy before absorbing it will result in a faster level increase. It feels like we're almost at the midterm of Samsung's success, Sun Yi assessed. We've only been in this ghost realm for less than 3 hours. As expected, leveling up by frantically creating soul beads is the fastest way. Okay. Beside Du Guangliang, another team member screamed and collapsed. This time the symptoms are more severe than before. My limbs felt weak and sore, accompanied by severe cramps throughout my body. The skin kept turning pale due to anemia, and at the same time, it ulcerated and peeled off like soft mud. Even the bones in his body mysteriously disappeared. Du Guangliang's brows furrowed even more deeply. What is going on? Where did this strange illness come from? He shouted, almost in despair. This player's fall has made the already precarious defense even more difficult to maintain. Young Master Du, this ghost tide isn't coming for us. We'd better break out of it as quickly as possible. Team leader Lu calmly analyzed the situation and offered his suggestions. Get out of here. I don't G wanna die here. Du Guangliang was clearly much more anxious. Young Master Du, wait for me, don't leave me behind. The fallen team member pleaded in a hoarse voice. Nobody paid him any attention. Because nobody knows whether this strange disease is contagious. Don't touch him. This could be a special virus released by an evil spirit. Du Guangliang gave the order. The remaining team members, also fearing infection, had no choice but to abandon the teammate and continue their breakout attempt. No, young Master Du. Save me. Don't go, don't go. The voice of the fallen team member was quickly swallowed up by the tide of ghosts. Needless to say, everyone knows what will happen next. The number of ghosts seems to have decreased. Jiwoo noticed. That's right, the ghost tide has thinned out. Sun Yi looked around to assess the situation. The guardian ghosts of this area are probably all here already. Blood Lotus pointed to Shadow Dream beside her. At this moment, she was holding a huge bag of soul beads. These were all dropped by these guardian ghosts after they died. The estimated number is probably over 1,000. Even higher-ranking guard captains dropped 4-star soul beads. There are at least dozens. And this is all based on the premise that Sun Yi constantly consumes soul pearls to replenish his spiritual power. As for the pain level, it has reached an unimaginable level. I currently have approximately 50,000 pain points. And it's still going up. Finally, at the end of the ghost tide, a demon with a significantly different level of spiritual power appeared. Is it you who's threatening the Great Library? Its echoing sound came from afar. Huh? Who is it? Sun Yi looked in the direction of the voice. It was a ghostly guard dressed in a gilded academic gown. Its ability to initiate a conversation with Sun Yi demonstrates its high level of intelligence. You can tell at a glance that he's not someone to mess with. I am the commander of the guards. Your actions have already alerted the Great Library. Pay with your life. Having said that, it no longer concealed its aura. The full potential of a 4-star mid-stage player is unleashed. Sun Yi. I'll give it to you when you're completely confused. He's only at the mid-4-star level, and he's already spouting this nonsense. Tang Shi. Exist. Sun Yi pointed to the guard commander in the distance. A sword strike imbued with the aura of blood. Underestimate me. The guard commander was about to get into a fighting stance when suddenly everything went black. He lay down on the floor. Ingmeng has made her move. When such a powerful individual appears, that's when Shadow Dream will make her appearance. The effect of Nightmare is that if you fall asleep and are awakened by a teammate of the target, the teammate will be infected with Nightmare. However, if the target is Sun Yi's side, not only will they not be infected, but they will also suffer additional psychological damage. Tang Shi unfurled her sword with a simple and unadorned strike. Pfft. While the commander of the guards was still conscious, he vomited a large amount of black blood. The Lady of the Great Library. I'm so sorry. After saying that, it transformed into a soul pearl. With the 5-star demon in hand, things are indeed simple. Sun Yi breathed a long sigh of relief. They swept through everything in their path. What's there to say? Even in the ghost realm, if I were to encounter that young Master Du. My 2 buddies are 5-star contracted ghosts. What do you have to fight me with? Moreover, Sun Yi is currently experiencing a lot of pain. You can even upgrade all the other female ghosts to 5 stars. That's how extravagant we are. After the commander of the guards was killed, the ghost tide gradually receded. New guardian ghosts will no longer appear. However, there's one thing that bothers me, Sun Yi pondered. The Great Library it mentioned, it seems, refers to a person? To correct you, it should be ghost, Blood Lotus suddenly said from the side. Ignoring Shuelian's correction, Sun Yi continued to ponder. It seems that's really the case. These guardian ghosts were saying they were protecting the Lady of the Great Library. Does that mean, in the deepest part of this ghostly realm? There's also a female ghost named the Great Library, if it really exists. Is it possible to make a contract? Interesting, let's explore further. Sunny smiled and then reorganized the team to continue their journey. The large library has a sense of spatial folding. However, overall, it is still a structure similar to a deep well. When you first enter the ghost realm, you will definitely be in a high position. The deeper you go, the more you delve. Sun-E walked down a downward staircase. Ring ring. Suddenly, the sound of wind chimes reached my ears. Sun-E asked in confusion, walking down the stairs to the direction from which the sound came. All I could see was a wooden door suddenly appeared on the dark, cold stone wall. Warm light shone through the windows on both sides. A sign hangs above the wooden door. It was written in characters that Sun-E could recognize. Time slot, tavern? Questions flooded Sun-Yi's mind. What place is this? Is this part of the ghost realm? Is it a trap? Or is it? Sun-E quickly considered all the possibilities. It's unlikely to be a trap. After all, this so-called time slot tavern was clearly out of place with the surrounding scenery. It's like it suddenly appeared on the wall a second ago. Let's take a closer look. Sun-E still intended to go over. I wonder what's in this unusual place. Close your eyes again and perceive your surroundings. There was no overflow of inspiration either. It doesn't seem like a disguise created by evil spirits to deceive people, or something like an illusion. Sun-E glanced at Ganging. I understand, I'm the tankiest, I'll go first, okay? She said helplessly, then raised her avatar shield to protect the front of the group. Step by step, I approached the tavern entrance. Just when Sun-E was about 5 meters away from the gate, a warm breeze swept by. Holy crap! My shield. Huh? What happened to my sword? Wow! The cape that Brother Sun-E gave me is gone. The fully armed female ghosts had their weapons and armor removed in an instant. This is bad. Sun-Yi's mind immediately went into overdrive. However, the next moment, a system notification appeared in his mind. Entered a safe zone. The host is now invincible. All weapons have been disarmed. Sun-E looked at these prompts. Safe zone? What is this? Why does this feel like something out of a horror game? But in any case, since this is a system notification, there can be no mistake. Don't worry, there shouldn't be any danger here. After reassuring the bewildered female ghosts, Sun-E walked straight forward and opened the door. Ring ring. The bell hanging on the door rang out with a clear, melodious sound. Just like what Sun-E had heard before. Step inside. Inside was a charmingly decorated little bar. Push open the door and you'll see a wooden bar counter directly in front of you. The temperature was just right, keeping Sun-E feeling most comfortable. Decorative swords and knives are hanging on the wall. There weren't many seats. There were fewer than 4 wooden tables. It could be due to the security zone guaranteed by the system, or it could simply be due to the prevailing atmosphere. Sun-E felt much more relaxed after arriving here. For those who fight in the cold, dark, ghostly realm, it's nice to be able to rest for a while in such a cozy place. That's a very good thing. Welcome to Temporary Gap Tavern. Our store operates 24/7, 365 days a year, and can randomly appear in any area with spatial fluctuations. A new customer? The waiter who was wiping the table noticed Sun-E and his group and greeted them warmly. She is not a ghost. He didn't exude even the slightest bit of inspiration. This is neither a suppression of inspiration nor the use of some kind of hidden tool. There is absolutely none. He's just like an ordinary person. Only people who can appear in places like this. It can't possibly be that ordinary. Where is this place? What is it used for? Sun-E asked directly. The waitress cheerfully began to introduce the product. My name is Shiyu, pronounced Shiyu. As you can see, this is a tavern located within a time-space rift. This tavern is dedicated to people like you, who have a special destiny. It may have different functions for different people. If you happen to find our tavern again during your long journey, you're welcome to come in and take a break anytime. Also, please take this membership card. A moment later, a membership card of indistinguishable material was handed over. After Sun-E took it, the card transformed into something on the same level as the system and bound itself to his soul. In this state, the membership card can be activated at any time. There is a stamp area on the card. There are currently 10 vacancies. Each time you use our tavern, you can earn up to 1 stamp. Good things will happen every time you collect 2 stamps. He continued his introduction shortly afterward. Two are enough? Sun-E carefully examined the membership card in his hand. Now come in and you can get a stamp. When we find the Time Rift Tavern again, wouldn't that satisfy the requirements? That's not bad. How do I get it stamped? See, you pronounced with the second tone. This pronunciation has been repeated 4 times already, so there shouldn't be anyone who can't pronounce it by now, right? I won't write it anymore. Smiled and pointed to the bar behind him. Carl, we have a guest. He called out towards the bar shortly afterward. We have guests. A short-haired girl wearing a vest stood up from behind the bar. Hello. Would you like something to drink? We offer a variety of beverages, not just alcoholic drinks. The drinks prepared at this pub will have a special effect on you, our guest. It's free. I'll stamp your membership card every time you use it. Carl rattled off a string of welcoming remarks, as if reciting a memorized script. Sunny's gaze, however, was fixed on what was behind Carl. 3 bottles of wine, radiating elemental light, floated there. They are ice, fire, and thunder. Holy crap, Carl. Sun-E is an old Dota player. I recognized Carl's ability at a glance. Although there will be some changes. But it's not hard to guess. Carl should be able to be contracted. The conditions are not yet clear. Maybe it'll be a prize for completing one of the stamping milestones? That way, I can come to the Time Rift Tavern more often in the future. Sun-E made a guess. What would you like to drink? Sun-E turned to look at the female ghosts. Ganging gave a hearty thumbs up and nodded meaningfully. You know what I'd choose. If possible, black tea, Xiaoming. What about you? After seeing that Sun-E had finished negotiating with the shop assistant, worried that Ying Meng would run around and disturb Sun-E, Tang Shi finally putting Meng down from her arms. Then I want milk. I'll have black tea too. Do you have any student milk? Blood Lotus asked quietly. Then let's have 1 beer, 2 cups of black tea, and 2 cups of milk. Sun-E summarized the women's requests. How could there possibly be such a thing as student milk? Milk is fine. So, what would you like, sir? Carl asked. I want... Options suddenly appeared in Sun-Yi's mind. Return of iced tea. Yes, kids, I'm back. In memory of a legendary soccer star, everyone's longing for his return transforms into the purest ice in the world. Iced tea. Drinking this will reset the pain points required for the lowest level female ghost in the party to level up. Reboot milk tea, a wine that distorts the timeline and all cause and effect, infused with a trace of the world's power. Drinking this will cause you to lose all inspiration and return you to the beginning of the story, but you will retain your current items and your ghost contract will remain unchanged. The dream wine of the Lord's world, a dreamlike beverage that seems to harbor beacons from other worlds. After drinking this, you will be transported to a world where everyone is a lord. The system's functions will change. It seems your initial unit in that world is a goblin? Examine the 3 pieces of information that popped into his mind. Really? This tavern possesses a system-like power of laws. It even possesses power that transcends the entire dimension. Those last 2 options are a bit ridiculous. Whether it's restarting milk tea or that dreamlike wine. Sun-E was speechless. What the heck is that? Abandon your current inspiration and go back to the very beginning? It has almost no effect on me. Then, what exactly is this traveling to a lord's world thing? Why would someone who should be a proper demon slayer give up being a goblin lord? Honestly, isn't this thing kind of breaking down the 4th wall? In other words, yes, children, I'm back. The effects of the return iced tea were most pronounced for Sun-E. Reset the pain points required to level up the lowest level female ghost in the team. What does that mean? Isn't the rule for using pain points to double with each use? The first time is 500, the second time is 1000, and so on. Under these usage rules, the lower the level of the female ghost at the time of the contract, the more difficult it is to upgrade her later. For example, his first contracted ghost, Blood Lotus. She's already increased her pain level twice. The next time you upgrade using pain points, it will cost 4,000 pain points. After consuming the returning red tea, the leveling up consumption returned the initial 500 pain points. Of course, Sun-E was also aware of what everyone was thinking. Don't you currently have nearly 50,000 pain points? First, upgrade the Blood Lotus's level a few more times. Once the pain level becomes unbearably high, drink iced tea to reset the level. This is naturally the optimal solution. Please give me a cup of return iced tea, Sun-E said to Carl, who was behind the bar. Okay. Car nodded. I took Sun Yi's membership card and gently stamped it. Then, she quickly began to prepare the ingredients that Sun Yi wanted. Drinks that don't require mixing. For example, milk and beer were already prepared and served to the female ghosts shortly afterward. After drinking, blood sacrifice demon blood lotus bond value +1. Bondage with the deceased Tsunoyoshi +1. Tang Shi's affinity value +1. Martial arts cultivator Jiwoo's bond value +1. Dreamlike ghostly dreams bond value +1. A series of messages about increasing bond points appeared. Oh? Drinking in the tavern can increase their bond level. Sun Yi exclaimed in delight. It seems this time-slot tavern is quite a good place. If it happens again in the future, I'll definitely come in and have a seat first. Carl, meanwhile, was using the 3 elemental vials behind her to continuously adjust the formula. While adjusting the setting, he was also muttering incantations to himself. Bing lei lei, please help me in a moment, bring me a cup of black tea. Okay. Carl's smooth windstorm magnetic storm combo helped me a lot. Sun Yi became even more determined to abduct the bartender. It's good to be able to work in a place like this. Carl's abilities are definitely not bad. It might even possess some kind of power that touches the very essence of the world. And the way to achieve these? Just come in for a drink every time you see the Time Rift Tavern. That's way too easy. Carl repeatedly held the 3-element bottles, blending and mixing them until she finally got Sun Yi's iced tea ready. Your return iced tea, sir. Carl pushed the orange-black drink in the glass towards Sun Yi. Sun Yi wasn't in a hurry to drink. Don't forget to upgrade the Blood Lotus first. Currently, Blood Lotus is at the late stage of 2 stars. And it upgraded twice using pain points, without considering bond points. The next upgrade requires 4,000 pain points. The next one will be 8,000, and the next one will be 16,000. After that, Sun Yi really couldn't get promoted anymore. The allure of exponential growth. With so much pain points, you could use them to level up other female ghosts. However, each of the female ghosts that Sun Yi currently possesses has a different mechanism. While the mechanism is powerful, the numerical values are equally important. If they encounter an opponent who requires the Blood Lotus mechanic in the future, but the effect is diminished due to her insufficient stats, that would be troublesome. Anyway, the pain level comes up quickly now. It might seem like a loss, but Sun Yi believes it's a safe choice. Consumes 28,000 pain points to upgrade the Blood Sacrifice Demon Blood Lotus's Inspiration Strength to late stage 3 stars. With a reduction of 10 points of bond points, the current cost is 25,200 pain points. Upgrade complete. Bang! The glass of milk in Xuelian's hand was accidentally crushed, and thick white liquid sprayed all over her face. Blood Lotus. Oh dear, I'm sorry, our cups are just ordinary glasses. He immediately jogged over to help clean up. Blood Lotus felt a significant surge of power flowing into it. While she was drinking milk, she lost control of her strength and crushed the cup in her hand. That's normal. Inspiration can comprehensively enhance all attributes of a contracted spirit. Nature also includes power. Moreover, it represents an advancement that transcends an entire major realm. Blood Lotus, still not having reacted, was still gripping things with the same strength she had in the past. It would be easy to crush the cup. Master, please let me know next time you upgrade. After a long silence, Blood Lotus finally spoke. This one's mine. Then, Sun Yi turned around and picked up the iced tea in front of him. Now drink this cup of black tea. Hey, I haven't had any yet. Sun Yi quickly put down the iced tea. Brothers, wait a minute. I almost messed things up. Now that the Blood Lotus has been upgraded, she's no longer the contracted ghost with the lowest inspiration level in the team. Gang Ying is a mid-stage contract genius among Samsung's top-tier players. Sun Yi, then let's upgrade Gang Ying again. What else can we do? Gang and Ying first met when they were both at the late stage of the 2nd star level. It has now been upgraded to the midterm of Samsung. In other words, she upgraded twice. To surpass Blood Lotus in level, you'll need to upgrade twice more to reach the early 4-star stage. They require 2,000 and 4,000 points of pain respectively. Not particularly many. Consuming 6,000 pain points, the spiritual ability level of the demon Gang Ying who was killed by the car has been raised to the early stage of 4 stars. With a reduction of 10 points of bond points, it consumes 5,400 points of pain points. Upgrade complete. Bang. The beer bottle, accidentally smashed to pieces, also spilled beer all over Gang Ing. For a moment, she was speechless. Do you really enjoy seeing us get wet? Could this be some kind of fetish of yours, master? Gang Ing looked over with a slightly disdainful gaze. No, that's not how it works. So master likes this. You should have said so earlier. Jiwoo was very irritating and made a move to pour the red tea onto the chest of her nun's habit. I can do it too. Tang Shi mustered her courage and decided to join in. Ingmang didn't understand these things. But seeing her sisters doing it, she thought she should try to fit in too, so she picked up a cup as well. That's enough, stop. Sun Yi quickly took over manually, stopping the female ghosts from moving. That's the end of that little incident. There were no other problems this time. Sun Yi picked up the iced tea from the bar. Drink it all in one gulp. In a daze, he seemed to see a bald black man in a sports jersey smiling at him. A system notification popped into Sun Yi's mind. The pain point cost required to upgrade Blood Lotus has been reset. Amount of pain required to upgrade Blood Lotus. It has returned to 500 points. There's still a lot of pain points left. There's no reason not to upgrade when the cost is so low. Sun Yi continued to invoke the system, spending 7,500 pain points to upgrade the Blood Lotus. This time, we've truly enhanced the female ghost's spiritual abilities significantly. Consume 7,500 pain points to raise the Blood Sacrifice Demon Blood Lotus's inspiration level to early 5-star. With a reduction of 10 points of bond points, it consumes 6,750 pain points. Confirm. Confirm. Wait, hold on. Sun Yi had seen the Blood Lotus area. Ahem, I'm about to level up. Don't do anything dangerous. This can be considered a reminder. Upgrade complete. This can be considered a significant expenditure of pain points. Blood Lotus felt a surge of intense spiritual energy unexpectedly welling up within her. Continuous. With the help of Goyalai Black Tea. This was originally just a potential evil spirit wandering around Humbing Middle School. Now it has successfully reached the level of a 5-star demon. Next, let's look at the compensation. These days, I'm traveling all over the country with Sun Yi. Well, it seems I haven't been to the north yet. But I did travel to quite a few places. To be able to see such a wonderful world and learn about so many books. Isn't this better than staying at Hungbing Middle School forever, hunting down those students year after year? Moreover, if they hadn't left with Sun Yi, as a quasi-demon myself, who knows, one day I might get taken down by some more capable graduates. It simply vanished. Huh? That's strange. Why do I suddenly not want to die? Xue Lian's willow leaf eyebrows furrowed almost imperceptibly. She noticed a change in her mindset. When I was still a wandering demon, I never consider these things. In this world, ghosts can probably be considered another form of life. The death of a ghost signifies complete annihilation. It leaves nothing behind except for the soul bead that represents its spiritual power. Normally, evil spirits do not fear death. The instincts of ghosts constantly drive them to hate humans while simultaneously craving their flesh and blood. However, during the time I spent with Sun Yi, my desires have changed. I want to follow him, I want to see more things, I want to be with him. Her gaze towards Sun Yi softened slightly. Sister Blood Lotus, it's your turn to play. Sitting opposite Blood Lotus, Shadow Dream urged. While Sun Yi was busy in the tavern, Ingmang took the opportunity to take out a deck of cards and ask Xuelian to play cards. I only have one card left. I'm sure I can beat Blood Lotus' sister who still has 17 cards. Ingmang smiled smugly. Bombs and planes, I'm done. Blood Lotus played all 17 cards in her hand at once. Huh. A notification came from Sun Yi's side. The bond value cap for Blood Sacrifice Demon Blood Lotus has been exceeded. Current bond value, 14. Sun Yi stared blankly at the pop-up notification. I haven't done anything yet. How come the bond value cap was automatically exceeded? Did she resolve the Blood Lotus issue on her own? However, upon closer reflection, it doesn't seem like such a bad idea. Sun Yi began to think. After all, that was when Tang Shi broke through her limits. It really took a lot of effort. If it can save you some trouble, that would be even better. In that case, it's time to put the practice of being possessed by the Blood Lotus on the agenda. Sun Yi started making plans. Possession is a very powerful state. It allows Oni masters to merge with their contracted Oni, enhancing all their skills and significantly increasing skill accuracy. If a female ghost possesses the body, there is an additional effect. Side effects of retriggering the contract with the female ghost, combined with a side effect transfer system. That's a truly terrifying weapon. The side effects are particularly unique when contracting with the Blood Lotus. Sacrifice random organs from your body to strengthen the Blood Lotus. The amount of pain it can cause is obvious. Speaking of pain levels, Sunny took out another soul bead and swallowed it. In any case, you're perfectly safe in this time gap tavern. Why not stay here and slowly swallow the soul pearl while enjoying some tea? Even outside the ghost realm, one must still worry about being ambushed. Why isn't there a notification that the pain level is increasing? Sunny asked curiously. The side effects have indeed been transferred out. But why isn't the pain level increasing? It was as if they had noticed Sunny's confusion. At this moment, he stepped forward and began to explain respectfully. Guests, our time gap tavern exists in the gaps of time and space. In your world, time is essentially stopped. Any attacks you launch from here will take effect with a delay, until you walk out of the tavern and return to your own world. I see. Also, the location of our tavern will begin to change after you step out the door. If you leave anything here, you probably won't be able to go back and retrieve it immediately. He continued after a moment. In other words, the door to the Time Rift Tavern will move to another location immediately after Sunny leaves. It's impossible to let Sunny go out and come back immediately. This looks like a safe zone. It is indeed just a safe zone. You can only come in to rest, grab a drink, and check in to get a reward. Sunny certainly couldn't stay here indefinitely. All right, let's get going. Sunny stood up. There are still a few things left to be done in the ghost realm. First of all, finding the book ghost is probably a long shot. Sunny genuinely had no idea how Du Guangliang managed to be so efficient. Even if it triggers a ghost tide. Among so many evil spirits, I didn't see a single book ghost. In addition, it is what the guard commander mentioned earlier. The Lady of the Grand Library. Sunny felt it was necessary to look for her. Perhaps she's also a female ghost who can be contracted? According to official detection, the strongest spiritual energy emanating from this ghostly realm is only at the early stage of the 5th star level. In other words, within the Great Library's ghost realm, even the strongest demons will not possess an inspiration level exceeding that of a 5-star early-stage demon. Other 3-star and 4-star Onmyoji, when they enter a dungeon, will probably only explore the middle and upper levels. They absolutely dared not venture into the lower levels. If we encounter a high-level evil spirit, that would be terrible. However, with Sun Yi's current team composition, there's basically nothing to fear, including the newly promoted Blood Lotus. There are a total of 3 5-star contracted ghosts and 2 4-star contracted ghosts. Such a configuration is probably unique. After retrieving the female ghosts, Sun Yi stepped out of the Time Rift Tavern. Really? The instant I stepped outside. Plus 200. Plus 200. Plus 200. Plus 200. Plus 200. A series of pain level messages appeared. That's absolutely true. In the Time Slot Tavern, time truly stands still. Wait, if that's the case, is it possible to use this place as a time capsule and practice martial arts inside? Essay of time. Everyone should know this, right? It's like time flows at an incredibly slow pace. Several years of cultivation inside are equivalent to only 1 day outside. It's roughly this kind of place. However, the Time Gap Tavern that Sunny encountered, it's clearly much more powerful than that. Because, according to Suyu, after Sun Yi entered the Time Gap Tavern, his time, it's paused. The only downside is that the Time Gap Tavern is a little small. The space inside, if it were used as a tavern, it's actually quite spacious. But if it's used for training, such as practicing the combat positioning of a female ghost, compared to the training grounds inside the Magic University, that's definitely not enough. However, even if it really is enough, I'd probably get away with messing around in there, and the person in charge of this tavern wouldn't allow it, right? Sun Yi continued to speculate. Forget it, let's not think about it anymore. Let's continue deeper into the area. Let's see if there are any book ghosts that Du Guangliang missed. Speaking of which, Sun Yi opened the side effect transfer panel. I glanced at the target of the transfer. Oh? Now it's Du Guangliang's turn to suffer the side effects. Sun E hadn't paid close attention when he was manipulating the pain level before. There was just too much information. He couldn't keep up. Sun E didn't make any special selections. The transfer will proceed according to the order of the names on the list. If people die from the side effects, just replace them with another group. Just keep walking down like that. Now it's finally Du Guangliang's turn. This guy actually has a father? It should be quite resilient. Sun E recalled the information he received while fighting outside. The infernal chapter was never a good thing to begin with. Relying on their strength, they acted recklessly in the ghost realm. Once the side effects are transferred, there's absolutely no psychological burden involved. After leaving the Time Rift Tavern, Sun E led his team forward for a while longer. There was nothing along the way. Whether it's other people or other ghosts. There was nothing there. All around were bookshelves and more bookshelves. The distinctive smell of old books lingered around my nose. This is the first time I've ever enjoyed exploring the ghost realm so much. Sun E couldn't help but complain. Could it be that evil spirits roam the Great Library? Were they all killed by Sun E in the ghost tide just now? Surely not. The other ghost masters exploring the ghost realm also died one by one due to the side effects of Sun Yi's transfer there. The ghosts were all killed, and there were hardly any humans left. Goodness. Sun E came on a spring outing? He swallowed another soul pearl. The message about Du Guangliang's increased pain points was indeed received in the pain points payment information. It seems they really are tormenting him. It's just unclear whether, with only 3 stars currently, he can last longer than others of the same level. Sun E asked with a hint of mischievous curiosity. On the other side. Young Master Du, please hold on. The captain, a 5-star early-stage player, was carrying the nearly lifeless Du Guangliang as they moved at top speed through the ghost realm. The captain looked at the spatial beacon in his hand and quickly retraced his steps. That's terrifying. This ghost realm. I wonder if some kind of special evil spirit has been born. Under the curse of this unknown evil spirit, team members died one after another. The symptoms are not quite the same. Some people appeared to have swallowed the soul pearl whole, their spiritual power causing their bodies to burst. Some people inexplicably lose bones or develop skin ulcers. Several others had their blood mysteriously disappear, and when they were found, their bodies were terrifyingly pale. There's no blood left. Based on the captain's experience, they initially thought it was some kind of special virus. Until everyone noticed. There's a ghost truck that keeps appearing from a distance and repeatedly ramming into the procession. You're saying this isn't a curse, that I'm being forced to eat it. This is G weird. The captain had his contracted ghost support Du Guangliang's shoulders as they continued their rapid journey. Ugh, no, I can't take it anymore. I feel so bloated. So uncomfortable. Ugh. Du Guangliang started gagging. His stomach had long since been emptied by vomiting. I had absolutely no strength left in my body. The captain was extremely anxious. I am the team leader for this trip. If we fail to bring Du Xiao back safely and intact, the guild leader certainly won't let me off easily. Just thinking about the methods of Commander Du Tung, the captain couldn't help but get goosebumps. In short, no matter what, we must keep Du Guangliang going. As long as you can leave this place alive, the Oni master in charge of medical care within the battle group will treat you afterwards. You definitely won't die. However, judging from Du Xiao's current situation, that might be a bit difficult. Unless you use secret techniques. The secret technique the captain mentioned was naturally a special skill. One of his contracted spirits possesses special healing abilities. A life for a life. By sacrificing the lives of others, the target can be healed with almost miraculous efficiency. However, this move is ultimately too costly. It is generally not used lightly unless absolutely necessary. But now it's that so-called last resort time. If we want to save Du Guangliang, we'll probably have to resort to this tactic. Of course, you could say that the captain himself should be sacrificed to save Du Guangliang, right? Of course, that's possible. Unfortunately, the captain might be a little reluctant. What should we do then? Are they sacrificing team members? If there were still team members, the captain would have done that immediately. The problem is everyone else is dead. Only the team leader and Du Guangliang were left. What to do? Could there be anyone else in this ghostly realm? After all, Du Xiao had specifically instructed that no one else should be allowed to come in. Therefore, theoretically, there should be no one in the instance except for members of the Infernal chapter. Yes, is there? There really is. The one-eyed ghost, who was flying in midair conducting reconnaissance, sent a message. Not far ahead, there was a young man exploring a dungeon with a contracted spirit. Someone's there. And they're not even one of our own. Kid, blame your bad luck. The captain snorted coldly and immediately charged towards the boy's location in the distance. Looking at Du Xiao being carried on the back of his contracted ghost, they were almost entirely exhaling with no inhalation. Time is of the essence. We must capture this person immediately and then save young Master Du's life. The captain thought to himself. That's right. The Infernal chapter has always been this domineering. Those who are less powerful than ordinary demon slayers can be manipulated however one pleases. There's no logic to it. Master, my analysis shows that the boy's inspiration level is at the early stage of 3 stars. The captain's intelligence-gathering ghost is, naturally, the one-eyed ghost who can fly in the sky. It reported. Samsung's Ghost Master. Yes, it's perfect for extending Du Xiao's life. Lava demon, come out. Comments. Previo. A gigantic lava demon appeared, its body burning hot. Holy crap. Sun Yi stared at the suddenly appearing lava demon, completely bewildered. However, upon seeing the captain behind the lava demon and Du Guangliang behind the captain, Sun Yi naturally knew what had happened. It's definitely not a good thing. His presence in this ghostly realm was already a violation of the rules of their purgatory warband, although it's an unfair contract term. However, that didn't stop them from beating up Sun Yi. That captain is a 5-star early-stage ghost master. What he was most proud of was the massive, sturdy lava demon in front of him. I got a quick feel for it. Its intensity of inspiration. 5-star midterm. It is indeed very powerful. No wonder he could serve as the personal bodyguard of Du Guangliang, the young master of the Purgatory Battle Group. However, so what if it's 5 stars? 5-star demons? I have 3 of them here. All ghosts, prepare for battle. Sun Yi shouted. The female ghosts immediately took up formation. Finally we can fight again. The most excited one was Tsunayoshi, who had run over the demon. She's the kind of warmonger. I used to complain that Ghost Realm was boring. Suddenly, someone rushed over. There was no trash talk and no excuses were made. They started attacking right away. This is exactly what Gang Ying wants. Sun Yi could clearly sense the change in Gang Ying's mindset. She's getting quite excited. The captain, with a cold gaze, gave the order to the lava demon. Take it down. Without a word, the lava demon slammed down with a punch. This punch was delivered with some restraint. The goal was to cripple Sun Yi with a single punch, rendering him unable to fight. As long as Sun Yi, the Ghost Master, falls, theoretically speaking, he would no longer be able to control the contracted spirit. They then had no means of resistance. In the Ghost Realm, battles between Ghost Masters are highly efficient and direct. Bypass the contracted demon and attack the demon tamer directly. Come here. Gang Ying shouted from the side. The giant fist that was originally aimed at Sun Yi. In midair, it was as if I received guidance from some kind of force. It changed direction and smashed into Tsuna and Ying, who were holding up their avatar shields. Click. Blade armor activated. Gang Ying's entire body, including the avatar shield in her hand, was immediately covered with needles the length of chopsticks. Blade armor effect activated. At the same moment that Gang Ying was being hammered. Boom. A tremendous force was also hammering at the lava demon's body. The lava demon let out an echoing roar. He's clearly injured. The captain frowned. What happened? This kid actually has a tank that can withstand my lava demon's attacks? Ugh, what a hassle. Why not just obediently die? You insist that I use even more methods to get rid of you. Taking advantage of this brief moment, Sun Yi managed to determine the number of attackers. There's only the captain. There were no other demon slayers. Du Guangliang is incapable of fighting. Previously, Sun Yi only let Gang Ying go out to be beaten, while keeping Ying Meng by his side. Sun Yi put away the other female ghosts. The main purpose is to prevent being ambushed, and it also serves as a deception. He made those who wanted to launch a sneak attack believe that Sun Yi could only release 2 female ghosts at a time. Therefore, a hasty attack would expose the vulnerability. If all the female ghosts were sent out at once, there was no protection around his own body. The main body was ambushed by others. That would be a huge mistake. Unfortunately, I don't have an informational ghost. I still need to analyze and judge the battlefield myself. At this moment, Sun E finally understood the importance of information-based contract ghosts. Battlefield information is extremely important. Are there enemies around? How many are there? Where are they located? This information is crucial. If sufficient battlefield information is not obtained, on a larger, macro level, it's equivalent to being blind. In the past, Sun E could obtain information by sharing the perspectives of other female ghosts. However, such a situation can only be a transitional phase. For professional matters, it's definitely best to leave them to the professionals. In short, Sun E became even more determined to form a contract with the information-type ghost. I wonder if that so-called lady from the big library is some kind of information ghost? Sun E couldn't help but speculate. However, let's not think about these things now. The battle continues. Ing Meng. Sun E looked at the little girl in the black lace dress beside him. Since there is only one demon slayer fighting against me, with her exceptional point control abilities, Ing Meng naturally shines in this arena. Received, brother Sun E. Ing Meng instantly headed towards the captain's position. Nightmare effect activated. The captain suddenly felt dizzy. What? There's also psychological attack? However, Ing Meng's nightmare did not have the expected effect. It only made the captain momentarily dazed. He didn't fall asleep. I don't know if the other party has an exceptionally strong intuition or if they are equipped with gear that can resist sleep. It can both block its own attacks and also use this method to harm itself, a 5-star demon slayer. The captain finally got serious. He took another look at the boy in front of him. The resentment in his eyes was so intense it was almost overflowing. I admit, you're pretty good. These female ghosts from the contract? Haha, it certainly has its merits. But I have to tell you, in the face of absolute power, all the fancy tricks are useless. Be a good girl and give your life for young Master Du. The captain released another 5-star early game contracted ghost. With this 4-star tank-type contract ghost and a control-type ghost, you might be able to put up a fight against my 5-star lava ghost. But unfortunately, I have another 5-star demon like that. The captain waved his hand with a cold smile. An ice demon, exuding a chilling aura, emerged. Goodness. One is ice, the other is fire. Are you trying to create a situation of extreme contrast between hot and cold? The frost demon possesses the ability to summon frost attacks. In terms of role classification, it can undertake both attack and control capabilities. They were a major contributor in the battle against the Ghost Tide. The frost demon gathered his hands together, and a biting cold wind appeared out of nowhere. Huge ice pillars condensed around the frost demon and shot towards Sun E. The captain looked at Sun E as if he were looking at a dead man. Judging from this kid's appearance, he should be about the same age as young Master Du, right? To have achieved this level of success at such a young age is truly remarkable. Unfortunately, I can't keep you here now. Yes, that's right. This team leader is about to utter that most common line found in countless online novels. To have grown to such an extent in such a short time, he will surely become a major threat to our purgatory battle group in the future. This child must not be allowed to live. In the lull of the captain's trash-talking spree, Sun E repeatedly checked the surrounding situation. There was indeed no one else. Otherwise, the captain's attack wouldn't have been so unrestrained. Since that's the case. Perfect, let's get serious. The 3 female ghosts who were taken into Sun Yi's ghost control space. Blood Sacrifice Demon Blood Lotus in the early stages of a 5-star game. Tang Shi in the early stages of a 5-star game. Ji Wu, a martial arts cultivator at the mid-stage of the 5th star level. Release them all. Sorry, it's absolute hard power. On my side. Comments. E no longer allowed the female ghosts to suppress their spiritual power. 2 5-star early game units and 1 5-star mid-game unit. The terrifying aura of the 3 5-star female ghosts erupted skyward. The combined pressure. Even the captain of the guards, a 5-star demon slayer, began to feel a chill run down his spine. The previously cold and murderous expression on his face was now completely replaced by utter shock. This is impossible. You're just a lowly 3-star early game on my OG. How could you possibly contract a 5-star demon? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The captain could hardly hide the shock on his face. Goodness. So, what if I have one more 5-star ghost than you? Is it really necessary? I was so scared I almost wet my pants. Sun E watched the changes in his facial expression. I still feel like laughing a little. Those people from the Purgatory Battle Group are really all the same. When they are in a position of power, they become arrogant and treat everyone else as less than human. When it's your turn to be the weaker party, you'll start to scramble for your life. This reminded Sun E of a saying. Below me, there is a strict hierarchy. Above myself, all beings are equal. How ridiculous. However, I still prefer your defiant attitude from earlier. Please restore it. Otherwise, when I start killing, it doesn't feel as exciting as it used to be. Speaking of which, this seems to be the first time Sunny has manually killed someone. Those who died before were all due to the transfer of side effects, which they couldn't withstand and died. A 5-star early-stage ghost master can withstand quite a bit of damage. It's better not to waste it. Sun E pondered. Then he decisively moved his own side effects to the list and kicked out an unimportant nobody. Replace it with the team captain's name, Liao Ruofei. Yes, now we're revealing the captain's name. It's because Sun E doesn't care what his name is. It's definitely not because the author was too lazy to name it. Cough cough. In conclusion, added successfully. Liao Ruofei, the guard captain in the early stages of the 5-star level. His name appeared the instant Sun E conceived the idea. They've already been moved to the side effects transfer list. The moment the list was added, team leader Liao Ruofei immediately began to feel discomfort throughout his body. Inspiration swells within me. My limbs and bones began to ache and feel weak. I even feel like I'm about to get a cramp. The moment Captain Liao Ruofei sensed something was amiss, he understood everything. The curse that wiped out all the team members is now turning on him. Moreover, look at the strange smile that the boy in front of me just gave. Could it be? You're the one who's behind this. The culprit who harmed our infernal chapter is you. Although there is no substantial evidence. But, leaving aside the facts, Sun E was still able to breathe normally while Liao Ruofei was in pain. Did he not make even the slightest mistake? Sun E said he didn't care. Dead people can't talk anyway. So what if I guessed it? No, you must have used some evil magic to forcibly contract these female ghosts. Otherwise, Samsung's demon slayers couldn't possibly possess such a powerful contracted demon. If that's the case, then you definitely can't perfectly control these female ghosts. I haven't lost yet. You dare say that Sun E forced me into a contract? Tang Shi interrupted. With an unusually uncharacteristic anger, she took a step forward, gripping the soul-chasing sword tightly in her hand. This seems to be the first time she's ever been angry. The reason she didn't rush forward immediately to kill Liao Ruofei was, it's just that Sun E hasn't given the battle orders yet. Even if you're very angry, you can't move around recklessly. Don't worry, go for it. Sun E gave the instructions. Whoosh! Tang Shi activated the mountain of corpses and sea of blood on her own, and sword energy composed of blood swirled around the soul-severing sword in her hand. It's not over yet. Blood gem activate. Tang Shi, already filled with anger, activated the blood gem. The chilling killing intent was so intense it almost materialized. At that moment, she was like a demon descended to earth. It can move independently and even speak. Seeing Tang Shi's actions, Liao Ruofei was taken aback again. I knew it. They really did use evil magic. The contracted spirit possesses such strong autonomy. It certainly cannot be perfectly controlled. Her combat strength will inevitably be diminished. Yes, in other words, we can win. The frost demons summoned ice pillars to attack Tang Shi. The lava demon also began swinging its giant fist, smashing it towards Tang Shi's location. However, just as the lava demon raised its fist, soul arrow. The words spoken by Shuelian were devoid of emotion. Due to the accumulation of gemstones, the stored soul arrows were unleashed in large numbers towards the lava demon. Swoosh! 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 It fires at a rate as fast as a machine gun. Every 3 arrows can trigger a percentage-based true damage effect. The explosion sound effect that triggers true damage is like firecrackers exploding in succession. On Liao Ruofei's side, his eyes widened in disbelief as he sensed the lava demon state. As is well known, solidified lava is obsidian. The lava demon's enormous body is composed of obsidian stones of various sizes. Moreover, it's a lava demon with 5-star inspiration. Logically speaking, even a late-stage 5-star or even a 6-star demon's attack should be effective. Neither is likely to cause significant harm. But Liao Ruofei even thought he was hallucinating. The lava demon's life force is rapidly fading away. Your health is visibly dropping. What exactly is this power? Who exactly are you? Liao Ruofei felt that his worldview was beginning to crumble. Isn't that wrong? I am a 5-star ghost master. Kill a 3-star demon slayer. Shouldn't it be as simple as killing a chicken? Shouldn't it have been a swift and decisive strike, ending right there? How so? Why would this happen? So, did I really kick a steel plate today? Ouch, it hurts. The pain emanating from various parts of his body brought Liao Ruofei's thoughts back to the present moment. Don't forget the side effects of Soul Arrow. It causes skin ulceration. Although Liao Ruofei currently possesses a 5-star level, the transferred side effects will be somewhat mitigated due to the level difference. But that was in the past. Blood Lotus is now 5 stars. What reason could there be to offer a discount on side effects? Eat your fill. AA. Intense pain swept through Liao Ruofei's entire body. It felt like being torn to pieces. No, you could even say that. Even being torn to pieces wouldn't be this painful. With each of the hundreds of soul arrows fired, a patch of Liao Ruofei's skin would fester. When all shots are fired, he has become, literally, utterly devastated. This round has really yielded quite a few points of pain. Sun Yi looked at the endless stream of pain points being added to his account in the system notification bar. Goodness. 5-star demon slayers are indeed durable. You can earn this much pain points just by taking care of one. And, judging from the current situation, he's not dead yet. We can keep building. Holy crap. He's still alive. Sun Yi looked at the lava demon directly in front of him. Although she looked quite weak. But it still stands tall. This shouldn't be happening. Blood Lotus's soul arrow deals percentage-based true damage. Even if all of the hundreds of arrows hit their mark, they should have suffered damage far exceeding 100% long ago. How come he's still alive? Moreover, it is visible to the naked eye. The lava demon's condition was rapidly recovering. It seems it's also equipped with some kind of item that can quickly restore health. Rapid health regeneration can indeed mitigate percentage-based damage to some extent. To be honest. After all, he's 2 major stages ahead of Sun Yi. Liao Ruofei's early game inspiration for 5-star characters is truly remarkable. They were tortured to this state, yet they didn't die. There is definitely something there. Damn it, how could I possibly lose? A mere 3-star demon slayer. I can't possibly lose to you. This is the first time I've been in such a critical situation under conditions of such a vast disparity in inspiration. Liao Ruofei screamed wildly. Lava demon possess. He called out. That's right. This is a unique skill possessed by a 5-star demon slayer. Possessed by a contract demon. After possession, the demon tamer can perfectly control the contracted demon. At the same time, all the spiritual power of the demon slayer will be superimposed with the contracted demon, to achieve a result where 1 + 1 is greater than 2. All that could be seen was the massive body of the lava demon transforming into an ethereal form and drifting towards Liao Ruofei. The rocky skin, shimmering with the red glow of molten lava, transformed into incredibly hard armor, adhering to Liao Ruofei's body. His face also became very rough due to the possession of the lava demon. Having completed the possession, an incomparably powerful aura erupted once more. At this moment, the terrifying pressure he alone exuded was palpable. It was in no way inferior to the spiritual energy impact released simultaneously by the 3 5-star female ghosts on Sun Yi's side just now. It seems they really are using their true abilities, Sun Yi said with a solemn expression. Although he has the advantage in overall combat strength. But if it really comes down to a war of attrition, he is definitely no match for Liao Ruofei. A 5-star Onmyoji's spiritual power is indeed deeper than that of a 3-star Onmyoji, even if he relied on the soul-devouring pearl to restore his spiritual power. Simultaneously commanding 3 5-star female ghosts in battle will eventually become too much for Sun Yi to handle. In that case, the best way. It was indeed best to end things quickly. Liao Ruofei's move was exactly what Sun Yi wanted. Possession complete. Liao Ruofei took out a huge warhammer from his spatial ring. Boom! This hammer was originally intended as a weapon for the lava demon. However, lava golems, in some ways, are related to stone golems. Strength and physique are top-notch, but intelligence is lacking by a tiny bit. To put it bluntly, the lava monsters are too stupid. They don't know how to use weapons at all. There's no other way but to put it in my spatial ring. It is only used when Liao Ruofei uses the possession skill and merges with the lava demon. The intense heat flowed from Liao Ruofei's hands after the possession was complete, all the way to the giant hammer in his hand. It's like charging a power bank. Soon, the warhammer in his hand seemed to be ignited from the inside. It flashed with a red light like molten metal. Liao Ruofei swung his giant hammer, knocking away Jiwu, who was attacking his frost demon. Boom! The powerful blow sent Jiwu flying backward more than 10 meters, crashing into several bookshelves. Cough cough, this really hurts a bit. Jiwu's originally rosy and healthy face had become much paler. Although she had a fire gem on her body, it could partially offset the burns from the lava. However, the immense force of the hammer was indeed somewhat beyond Jiwu's ability to withstand. Sun Yi witnessed this scene. Jiwu, step back and heal yourself first. Tang Shi, prepare to possess. Sun Yi calmly issued the instructions. That's right. Who says only Liao Ruofei can possess someone? I can too. Although Sun Yi's total inspiration is not as great as Liao Ruofei's, but his female ghost is stronger than the lava ghost. Exorcist. Ultimately, the strength of the demons under their contracts will determine the victor. Tang Shi immediately abandoned her attack on the frost demon and quickly retreated to Sun Yi's side. Sun Yi then performed the movements he had practiced beforehand. He skillfully produced a spacious cloak and covered himself with it. Just as he put it on, Tang Shi arrived beside him. Sun Yi and her hand, their fingers intertwined. Possessed. Tang Shi's body instantly became transparent, and she began to merge with Sun Yi's body. The soul-chasing sword, which had been in her hand, also ended up in Sun Yi's hand. Sizzle. The sound of clothes being torn. Everyone knows that. The problem of Sun Yi tearing the clothes that had come with Tang Shi after possessing her remains unresolved. However, these are all minor matters. Didn't you cover yourself with the cloak beforehand? It's for getting approved. I'm devastated. What? A mere 3-star demon slayer, capable of possession? He even forcibly possessed a 5-star female ghost? Aren't you afraid of being killed by the backlash? Liao Ruofei's mocking voice rang out. Because he was possessed by the lava demon, his voice began to sound strange. The sound was like the echo of churning lava. Liao Ruofei's sarcasm was indeed justified. Sun Yi, with the spiritual power of a 3-star ghost master, was able to make a 5-star female ghost possess him. There will indeed be some backlash. The effect is that each time possession is used, the side effects of the female ghost contract will be triggered again. I'm afraid people won't remember. Here, Sun Yi will help everyone recall. At that time, when Tang Shi was under contract in Baiwu Town, the side effect is, a sword will pierce through your chest. Sure enough, in the next instant, a semi-transparent soul-chasing sword appeared out of thin air in front of Liao Ruofei. At the same time, a similar sword appeared on the chest of Du Guangliang, who was unconscious behind him. What's going on? You beast, what kind of evil magic did you use? Liao Ruofei was horrified to discover that he couldn't dodge the sword no matter what he did. No matter where you hide, it seems to be bound to your body, always located in front of your chest. It's no use, you absolutely cannot escape this skill. Sun Yi laughed. After Tang Shi possessed him, his voice softened slightly. But what he said was truly infuriating. So this tiny bit of gentleness is pretty useless. Pfft. The soul-chasing sword pierced precisely into the chests of Liao Ruofei and Du Guangliang. Liao Ruofei felt an unparalleled, excruciating pain. That's strange. Even though his body was now fused with the lava demon, it was as solid as a rock. But when he was pierced by the sword that appeared out of nowhere. But they encountered no obstacles whatsoever. It felt like piercing into normal flesh. This is probably the terrifying, almost law-like side effect of the female ghost. It said it would pierce through your chest. No matter how hard your chest is, it's useless. It will definitely penetrate. However, at that moment, Liao Ruofei was filled with doubt. Du Guangliang in the distance seemed to be sneaking away. Yes, the side effects of Sun Yi's transfer were so severe that even Liao Ruofei, a 5-star character, was tormented to the point of near death. Moreover, Du Guangliang is only from Samsung. The moment he died, the sensors on its body emitted signals. It traversed space directly and was sent to the headquarters of the Purgatory Warband. Beep beep. The alarm sounded piercingly. Boom. The commander's office was immediately blasted open by a burst of flames. Du Ting, leader of the Purgatory Battle Group, stepped out of the cave. He roared furiously, like a lion's howl. My son dead? Battle continues. Despite the excruciating pain, Liao Ruofei swung the giant hammer in his hand. With overwhelming force, they charged towards Sun Yi. Now that things have come to this, Sun Yi has nothing left to hold back. Manually activate the blood gem to unleash a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. He then took out another soul pearl and swallowed it. All ready. Invincible slash. Whoosh. The instant the skill is released, Sun Yi's sword-wielding figure instantly transformed into an extremely sharp streak of light, slashing towards Liao Ruofei. WH. What? What is this thing? Liao Ruofei kept swinging his warhammer, trying to block the invincible slash attack. But it was completely useless. Skin as hard as obsidian was cut open with terrifying cracks. The slashing continued. Liao Ruofei visibly weakened. Damn it. What kind of skill is that? Why can't I dodge it? He wanted to escape and hide. But there's no way to escape. However, Liao Ruofei truly lived up to his reputation as a 5-star ghost master. Years of life-or-death battles had calmed him down. Such a shameless skill. This must be his final killing move. If I can survive this attack, he'll have nothing left. In the end, I'll be the one who wins. The thought process yielded a result. Liao Ruofei immediately took out a bottle of medicine and drank it. This is an activating agent that can significantly improve life recovery in a short period of time. Liao Ruofei grinned maliciously. That way, I can easily get through. Cough cough. Ugh. He was drinking the medicine. It choked me badly. This is a side effect of the soul-chasing sword. Each time it's triggered, it will cause the next swallowing, inevitably leading to a blockage. It was as if some inexplicable resistance was stuck in Liao Ruofei's throat. I can't swallow it. Huh? What on earth is going on? Liao Ruofei was dumbfounded. Besides the activating agent, he had many other ways to save his life. But they're all taken orally. There are no topical medications available. Somehow, my throat is blocked. I can't swallow anything, including saliva. No. It's impossible. I have no reason to lose to you. I am a 5-star ghost master. Liao Ruofei, trapped in a desperate situation, was nearly driven to madness. He began wildly swinging the warhammer in his hand. But this is completely futile. That's what makes the invincible slash so terrifying. Absolutely invincible during the slashing attack. It cannot be controlled, and it will not be harmed. He could only take a beating the entire time. Sun Yi, on the other hand, was also frantically burning his spiritual energy. Maintain the invincibility slash for as long as possible. While possessed, the invincible slash, which originally had a fixed duration, changed. It has been transformed into a channeled spell that consumes additional inspiration points to increase its duration. The duration of the slash had actually exceeded that by quite some time. And more than half of my inspiration has been used up. The key now lies in: can Sunny do it before his inspiration runs out? Kill Liao Ruofei. Final. AA. Amidst Liao Ruofei's deafening screams, his body crashed to the ground. When a demon slayer dies, their spiritual power dissipates rapidly. After all, he was a 5-star demon slayer. The spiritual energy he released upon death was quite a commotion. The contracted ghost it possesses will also die, turning into a soul bead that condenses next to the ghost master's corpse. It's finally over. Sun Yi stopped his attack and revealed his true form. Release the possessed state. Tang Shi separated from Sun Yi. Her Lolita dress, which had been torn to shreds, was also repaired. Don't ask, the answer is simply a limitation imposed by the laws of nature. In this way, in this ghostly realm, all the members of the Purgatory Warband, they all died. Sun Yi went forward to examine Liao Ruofei's body. The wealth of a 5-star demon tamer. That's quite a lot. Why not take it if it's free? Of course, they also turned over Du Guangliang's body next to them. As the young master of a warband, he'd probably get some nice things from home when he's out and about, right? He casually picked out another 3-star soul bead and swallowed it. Sun Yi was about to step forward to search the body. Suddenly, he felt his spiritual energy begin to surge within him. My body, which was already a little sore from the intense battle, was now sore. I felt instantly refreshed. An indescribable sense of comfort washed over me from head to toe. Sun Yi understood perfectly what this meant. My inspiration level has increased. Absorbing soul beads at high intensity consumes spiritual power, then absorbing more soul beads. After one trip. In less than half a day, Sun Yi. From early Samsung to mid-Samsung. Such speed is probably unprecedented. For the vast majority of people, a 3-star demon slayer represents the pinnacle of their abilities. Within this major phase, each advancement requires several years or even more than a decade of effort. The Magic City Ghost University, where Sun Yi studied, admits only the top geniuses from all over the country. Even so, it would take most people about 6 months or even a year to break through from the early stage of Samsung to the mid-stage. Otherwise, it would be the person I met at the Magic University training hall. The senior student Jia Chengya, who often sparred with Sun Yi. Oh wait, I mean, the one who often acted as Sun Yi's punching bag. He's already a senior in college, and he's currently only at the mid-stage of his Samsung career. And Sun Yi. It relies on the extremely high consumption and replenishment of inspiration. In addition, there is high-intensity combat. They managed to overcome this hurdle in just half a day. Unfortunately, almost all the guardian ghosts in this great library are dead. Otherwise, I'd like to trigger another ghost wave and see what happens. Sun Yi smiled. Such opportunities are rare. Let's see if we can switch to ghost domain horror. Let's return to the present. Let's see what Liao Ruofei has revealed first. Sun Yi stepped forward and examined Liao Ruofei's body. Lava demon, frost demon, and other contracted demons that Liao Ruofei did not release. A total of 9 soul beads. The highest level is mid-stage 5-star. Even the lowest rank is at least 4 stars in the early game. In addition, there are storage rings. There are several bottles of the activating agent that Liao Ruofei took out before he died. In addition, there are various soul beads, including 10 5-star soul beads and several 4-star and 3-star soul beads. As for equipment, he didn't bring much. He only had the warhammer he was using at the time. That's it? No way? Liao Ruofei is a bit poor. However, they obtained a total of 12 5-star soul beads. This is quite a good result. Based on Sun Yi's current reserves of inspiration, all you need is to swallow one of these 5-star soul beads. Inspiration levels skyrocket in an instant. Then there's Du Guangliang. What Du Guangliang said. It's fairly plentiful. The items inside the storage ring, plus the soul beads dropped by the evil spirits he had contracted. There are a total of several dozen 3-star and 4-star soul beads. For a 3-star on my OG, that's quite a lot. In addition, there are spatial beacons, essential for exploring the folded, ghostly realm. But compared to what Xinghe, the vice principal of Magic University, gave him, the space beacon in Du Guangliang's hand appeared to be of somewhat poor quality. It's alright. Even if you don't need it, you can take it back to the Magic University workshop to recycle it for credits. Sun Yi put the beacon into his storage ring. There were also some odds and ends. Since there were no side effects, Sun Yi wasn't too concerned. Take them all with you at once. Okay, all done. Next is the last thing. Go to the very bottom of the Great Library and find the female ghost named the Great Library. And Guy University of Superpowers, located in a villa district. By Yongfeng's residence. The sound of pages turning filled the study. The study, which isn't very large, has full-wall bookshelves on both sides. There were also many books piled up on the ground. Xiao Qian originally intended to tidy up these books that were scattered around. After tidying up once, Bai Yongfeng couldn't find the books anymore. Left with no other choice, we had to leave them lying around like that. The smell of paper and ink filled the entire room. Bai Yongfeng was sitting at his desk, constantly summarizing and analyzing the data from the ghost domain. The door behind him opened. Professor Bai, phone call. Xiao Qian walked in and handed over her phone. When you come to pick me up, just tell me I'm busy. Bai Yongfeng didn't even turn his head. He has always hated being interrupted while reading. Unless it's something important. For example, a ghost tide erupted and attacked the urban area of Shanghai. Or perhaps Sun Yi will come to visit him. Besides that, he prefers to stay in his study to conduct academic research. This is a message from Zhao Yan, the commander of the Radiant chapter. Xiao Qian reminded her. Oh, okay. Then I'll pick you up. Zhao Yan, the commander of the glorious battle group, is an old friend of Bai Yongfeng for decades. We were brothers who went to the battlefield together and faced the hordes of demons. Bai Yongfeng was still willing to answer his calls. Bai Yongfeng turned his attention back to the book. I answered the phone. Hello? Old Zhao? What's wrong? What? You said the infernal chapter went to the Great Library? Upon hearing this news, Bai Yongfeng felt a tremor in his heart. Isn't Sunny in the main library right now? Could this be related? The Purgatory Warband, known for its domineering and tyrannical behavior, doesn't listen to reason. If Sun Yi were to run into them, it's unlikely to end well. Thank you, I'll be right there. Bai Yongfeng quickly expressed his gratitude. Things seem to be getting complicated. He did not ask Zhao Yan to bring any men to help. Sun Yi is Bai Yongfeng's student, but he has no connection with Zhao Yan or the glorious battle group. Last time, I asked the Radiant chapter for help in leading people into White Mist Town. That's already a considerable favor. Even with old comrades in arms, Bai Yongfeng didn't want to owe too many favors. Don't worry. Our glorious legion will also get there. After all, our team has a deep partnership with the government and also has certain social responsibilities. At the very least, we can't allow the infernal chapter to act recklessly in public. Zhao Yan said on the other end of the phone. Well, in that case, that's a huge help. Hey, it's been so many years, Lao Bai, you're still so formal. Zhao Yan set aside his commander's airs and spoke as if it were a friendly banter between brothers. Sun Yi continued his exploration deeper into the ghost realm. How many flights of stairs have we gone down now? Ganging said, bored. 2 hours have passed since the battle against Liao Ruofei. After a brief rest, Sun Yi led the team off again. During these 2 hours, the surrounding scenery has remained unchanged. A pile of bookshelves, books, an endless wooden handrail, and staircases hidden in various corners. If you ask me, why not just drill a big hole in the floor and walk right through? Do I really have to take the stairs? Impatience got the better of Gang Ying, who made the suggestion. Anyway, we wiped out the ghost horde, right? She looked at Sun Yi with expectant eyes. As long as Sun Yi nodded, she would do it immediately. Sun Yi rolled his eyes at her. That's impossible, Blood Lotus explained. In the area where space is folded. Even if you break open a hole leading down, jumping down doesn't guarantee you'll reach the lower level. The safest way is to follow the rules of this ghostly realm and take the stairs. There is a special mechanism within the Great Library. In other words, although space may fold, roads may change. However, the stairs remain unchanged. The stairs that go down will definitely lead to the next floor. The stairs that go up will definitely lead to the upper floor. It is precisely because of the existence of this mechanism. Only by understanding the overall structure of the Grand Library could the Ghost Realm explorers figure it out. The shape of this Ghost Realm resembles a giant, deep well. The entrance is on the top floor. Sun Yi is currently heading to the lowest level. However, Sun Yi was also getting a little annoyed. I wonder how much longer we have to walk. The spatial beacon that Sun Yi carries has a time limit. If you cannot return via the same route within the time limit, the beacon's ability to fix space will then fail. This is a very dangerous situation. Without the beacon's help, Sun Yi would most likely get lost in this ghostly realm and never be able to get out. This isn't fun. I went down another flight of stairs. Huh? This place is so spacious. Ingmeng said happily. The narrow space she had just traversed made her feel oppressed. Don't run around, Xiaomeng. Tang Shi quickly grabbed Ingmeng, who was about to run wild. Sun Yi also came down. Holy crap. He was somewhat surprised by the scene before him. After exiting the stairs, you'll find a huge area large enough to accommodate a football field. The floor was covered with a burgundy carpet. The walls are also covered with bookshelves, making you feel as if you are surrounded by books. A large wooden door, 2 stories high, stands right next to the staircase. For some reason, Sun Yi could faintly hear the sound of waves from the other side of the door. In the far part of this area, The candlelight flickered. By the light of candlelight, you can see a young girl dressed in a pure white graduation gown sitting there. She was quietly reading a book. Look at this space, it's unbelievably spacious. In the game, encountering places like this usually means you'll be fighting a boss, Sun-E said to himself. However, even if you've never played games, an aura of spiritual inspiration emanating from the girl in the distance. I know that too. She is probably the ghost of the entire Great Library. The strongest being. 5-star early game. Could it be that she is the one the guardian ghosts said they wanted to protect before they died? The Great Library Lady? Sun-E guessed. At this moment, she hadn't noticed Sun-Yi's side yet. It's also possible that they noticed it but chose not to pay attention. However you look at it, now that we're here, there is no reason to back down. Let's go up and talk. Sun-E instructed the female ghosts to form a battle formation and advance. The girl didn't seem aggressive. At least it doesn't appear to be. But after all, it's only the inspiration strength of a 5-star player in the early stages. Sun-E still needs to remain vigilant. They were about 20 meters away from her. The girl moved. Gang-In quickly raised her shield. Defensive formation. The other female ghosts, along with Sun-E, quickly gathered behind the shield. However, the anticipated attack did not occur. The girl finally looked away from the book in her hands. She gazed at Sun-E. Then, an ethereal voice rang out. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Sun-E, who lives in room 4103 of the Villa Dormitory area at Shanghai University of Technology?" Holy crap, Fox. It seems so. The young girl in front of Sun-E. This must be the Great Library that those ghostly guards were talking about. Her deep eyes seemed to see right through Sun-Yi's soul. Sun-E did not show too much surprise. It seems so. This Great Library possesses skills even more powerful than the Book Demon. Otherwise, it's impossible for someone to give Sun-E such a detailed address upon first meeting him. It's also impossible for them to know Sun-Yi's name directly. And, let's recall, the Book Demon's second skill. It seems that you can only see a person's name. And in front of us is this Great Library. Not only can you see Sun-Yi's name, they even figured out my home address. I wonder if we'll be able to see more? Perhaps more information will only be available after skill upgrades? But, no matter how you look at it, one thing is certain about Sun-E. The female ghost in front of me is called the Great Library. It must be a superior being among the book ghosts, wandering in this ghostly realm. However, let's not rush to conclusions. Sun-E decided to try and get more information out of him. So he continued speaking to the girl in front of him. "You can recognize my name. So, can you figure out why I'm here?" he asked tentatively. The girl stared at Sun-E for a while longer. Then, she opened her mouth and answered. "You're guessing at my abilities. They're trying to test me, trying to get information out of me. And they even want to make a contract with me?" Do you want to form a contract with me?" The girl did indeed see through Sun-Yi's intentions. However, it seems that she sensed Sun-Yi's intention to enter into a contract with her. He seemed somewhat surprised. Why are you surprised? Sun-E couldn't understand it either. But, since she already knows, then there's nothing more to say. Sun-E immediately made a contract gesture. "This female ghost is called the Great Library. Since you're so cooperative, that would be perfect. She doesn't look like she can fight. Then please." "No, not yet." The girl smiled and shook her head when she saw that Sun-E was being so direct. Immediately, she clapped her hands gently. It seems to be telekinesis? Or something else. Many wood chips began to drift in from the surrounding area. They gathered in front of the Grand Library. At the same time, there were also ghosts that remained in a spirit form, passing through the walls. The ghost had an old face and a monocle hanging on its chest, resembling a butler in a large mansion. He looks incredibly sophisticated. He must be a formidable character. And, just like that, it drifted towards Sun-E. "So, we really have to start fighting after all? Prepare for war." Sun-E shouted orders at his female ghosts. Received. Upon receiving the instruction, the female ghosts immediately dispersed and prepared for battle. As expected. After all, he is the strongest being in this ghost realm. That kind of situation where, after meeting, they immediately form a contract and follow Sun-E. It's impossible to even think about it. Since that's the case, then let's fight. Seeing Sun-Yi's serious and prepared demeanor, The girl was somewhat surprised. Accident? That's strange. Isn't she able to see through Sun Yi's thoughts and motives? Why would that be surprising? Didn't you see what Sun Yi was thinking just now? Sun Yi noticed the details in the girl's expression and began to think. What exactly are the rules governing her skills? In short, the battle is about to begin. Although, in Sun Yi's impression, the book ghost has no offensive skills. If I had to name some compatibility, I'm afraid only forehead. It's similar to when Shadow Dream uses her skills. It's like giving you a little punch in the chest. The main point is to emphasize an attitude. Don't expect it to cause any harm. It is precisely because it is almost entirely non-aggressive. Book geniuses will be categorized into information slots. Anyone with even a little fighting ability. However, these only apply to ordinary book ghosts. And what about the Grand Library, which exists above the book demons? What combat skills does she possess? Sun Yi was unaware of this. Therefore, extra caution is required. However, the spirit that flew through the wall did not attack Sun Yi and his group. Instead, he stood respectfully before the girl. And those wooden pieces that she summoned. It was only between her and Sun Yi that they formed a table. She explained with a faint smile. I'm sorry, my abilities are not suited to fighting you. But if you want me to go with you, please play a game with me. Game? Sun Yi asked, puzzled. It's a good thing that we don't have to fight. It's not that Sun Yi was afraid of losing. Instead, well, how should I put it? Sun Yi was afraid he would just kill the female ghost. Currently, there are 3 5-star female ghosts in the team. If a fight really breaks out later, an accident, it would be fun if they just killed the Great Library. Although the team has a healer like the martial arts nun Jiwoo. But what if you hit too hard and don't catch your breath? In short, it can be done without relying on a fighting contract. Sun Yi was naturally even more willing. Okay, what kind of game is it? Go, Weiqi. The Grand Library beckoned, and the old ghost beside it immediately offered 2 boxes of chess pieces. I've been guarding this place for so many years. I am very interested in games designed by humans. I learned about the game of Go from my collection of books. The girl skillfully arranged the chess pieces. However, for hundreds of years, no one has ever played chess with me. It's such a pity. She then beckoned a wooden chair to the other side of the table. It was exactly the same as the one she was sitting in. Chairs with classic carved decorations. Please have a seat. Sun Yi didn't rush to sit down. Female ghosts have one characteristic. They are very rule-abiding. As long as it conforms to her rules, she will do the corresponding thing. However, Sun Yi first needs to understand what the rules actually are. What are the specific conditions for forming a contract with the Great Library? Is playing chess with her enough? Or do I need to beat her? Or rather, do I need to lose to her? In fact, winning or losing doesn't matter. What matters is resolving her inner conflicts. Who knows what the rules are? Blood Lotus, even a ghost. Huh? I remember you, Blood Lotus. You seem to be quite knowledgeable about these kinds of card and board games. Sun Yi's question interrupted Shui Lian's routine rant. Shui Lian looked at Sun Yi with a puzzled expression. Yes? Didn't she say that before? To her, all board and card games are nothing more than games of probability. Since that's the case, does she also play Go? Blood Lotus nodded. Yes, it certainly will. Can. If that's the case, then things are much easier. Sun Yi had initially thought he wasn't very good at Go. However, before that, we need to clarify one thing. Is it true that if she wins the chess game against the Grand Library, she will make a contract with Sun Yi? It was as if they had read Sun Yi's mind. The female ghost, sitting on the other side of the table, spoke again. Your worries are unnecessary. If you can beat me on the chessboard, I'm willing to form a contract with you. In that case, Sun Air was about to sit down. Sit. Oh, I haven't sat down yet. Who will act as the referee? Which version of the rules is being used? Sun Yi remained cautious. It's still best to understand all aspects of the situation clearly. The rules will follow the latest Go rules, and the referee will also be determined by those rules. The Grand Library pointed to the ghost who looked like a butler standing next to him. If you're still worried, you can use a vow as a guarantee. She went on to add. The so-called oath is, frankly speaking, a form of coercion. It's somewhat similar to the contract between a demon slayer and a demon. Once an oath is made, one must act in accordance with its requirements. Otherwise, the consequence will be utter destruction. For a ghost, This is considered a coercive measure second only to a contract. The ghost, who resembled a butler, swore in front of Sun E that he would be a fair referee and would not favor either side. In that case, it seems there's nothing more to worry about. Sun E was about to nod in agreement to start the game. But the butler ghost stopped them. No, this game isn't fair. It said, the administrator has staked herself on this. If she loses, she will make a contract with you. But what about you? What are your bets? The butler looked at Sun E. Sun E hadn't thought about what would happen if he lost. However, it seems now he has to gamble something, too. Otherwise, then there's no way to start the game. It seems that getting something for nothing is not allowed. So, what should we do? A contract with humanity. As far as ghosts are concerned, it can be said to be a very high price to pay. It's even greater than a human indenture. After all, after being contracted by humans, it's like dedicating everything to humanity. That's how big it is. So, Sun E wanted to offer an equal stake. What should it be? Risk your life? It seemed that they could see Sun Yi's distress. The girl slowly opened her mouth. Here's what we'll do. If you lose, you'll stay here with me forever as my servant. How? Her gaze towards Sun E held a hint of amusement. I wonder what they're planning. The referee, Butler Ghost, nodded. If this is the price, then the stakes for both of you are equal. Sun Yi's gaze sharpened. For a female ghost, is it worth taking such a big risk? If we lose. But I'll have to stay here forever. Sun E. Wait a minute. Such a vow. There are obvious benefits. If you win, you can form a contract with the other person's female ghost. It also has obvious disadvantages. If you lose, then you will become the other person's servant. Sun E immediately started brainstorming. It has obvious advantages and obvious disadvantages. Doesn't this perfectly match the transfer conditions of one's own side effect transfer system? This is a side effect transfer system, not a damage transfer system. For any action to be effective, it must have both obvious advantages and obvious disadvantages. As long as the conditions are met. This way, you can retain the benefits and transfer the drawbacks. As for the target of the transfer, those were naturally the people designated by Sun E. Yes. In other words, for Sun E, it really is a case of getting something for nothing. Win and make a fortune. Even if you lose, you can still make a huge profit. You won't lose out no matter what. Win-win. Sun E won twice. Sun E checked his list of transferred side effects. All those people from the Purgatory chapter are dead. Then let's tie those unlucky old men up again. Luo Yuanliang, Xiao Jianren, and Gao Ba. Speaking of which, it's been dragging on for so long. It's about time we got to know them. Sun E pondered. But not now. In order to successfully form a contract with this female ghost from the Great Library, Sun E needs to win the game. But in any case, now Sun E has no worries about the future. Okay, I agree. Alright, the oath is made. I hereby declare the game open. It is the butler ghost who announced it. At the same instant, something was extracted from both the girl sitting on the other side and Sun E. This seems to be the limitation imposed by the oath. If either party fails to keep the oath, they will all be punished. Only transfer successful. These 4 words popped into Sun Yi's mind. It is true that the negative effects of the oath were transferred out as a side effect. Even if Sun E loses the game later, those imprisoned in this ghostly realm as servants were also others. Then, please take your seats. The game shall begin. That's what the butler said. Sun E looked at the Blood Lotus. Come here. The female ghosts that Sun E contracted were all bound to Sun Yi's own soul. Letting Blood Lotus play chess isn't against the rules. Xue Lian realized that the outcome of her chess game would affect Sun Yi's future. What does this mean? Absolute trust. Sun Yi believed in him, which is why he allowed him to play. Blood Sacrifice Demon Blood Lotus Bond Value +1. Sun Yi was stunned. This can increase affinity points? He didn't understand. It's okay though, since he claimed to have discovered the hidden potential of the Blood Lotus. There is naturally a need for development. Who says being good at card games isn't a skill? Isn't that useful? Thank you for your trust, Master. Blood Lotus bowed slightly. She then went to the chair and sat down properly. Interesting, letting your contracted ghost play chess? The girl on the other side of the table laughed. She didn't care. After all, souls are bound together. If Sun Yi loses, Then all the female ghosts he made a pact with would become his servants. Servant ghost. It's better to be more precise in your word choice. The thought of so many ghosts appearing in my place to keep me company is unsettling. She couldn't help but feel happy. I've been staying in this ghostly realm for so many years. It's all books, nothing but books. I've finally found a hobby. But no other ghosts came to play with him. Well, it's very lonely. Therefore, I heard that Sun E came to sign a contract with me. The female ghost of the Great Library was actually somewhat happy. But, happy as I am, I cannot give up my dignity as a ghost. Moreover, he also had the task of managing the library. At least make a show of it, try to put up a fight, at least a little. Of course, if Sunny loses. That's not much different. Anyway, I won't be lonely anymore. Isn't that good enough? Win-win. She won twice. Yes. As for this female ghost, whatever the outcome, she can accept it. That's really fun. Sun E won twice, a double victory. For the female ghost of the Great Library, it's a win-win situation, winning twice. Game theory, isn't it amazing? Sun E, along with the other female ghosts, surrounded Shuel Yan. Although there's nothing they can do. But, actually, this part needs to be arranged. Moreover, they were all curious about how this game would unfold. Amidst the various hidden agendas of both sides. Then, the game begins. The butler ghost announced. Place the chess pieces. The game of chess has officially begun. As the game began, the pace of each player's moves noticeably slowed down after the first few moves. Sun E could sense that Blood Lotus was thinking rapidly. The other female ghosts, though unable to do anything for Blood Lotus, all stood behind her, intently watching the chessboard. It certainly has a lot of presence. The game quickly became very close. As for the specifics of how anxious, how would I know? Do you think I really understand Go? In any case, it's vaguely clear from the chessboard that Blood Lotus seems to be at a disadvantage. The Great Library has a wealth of knowledge about chess records spanning hundreds of years, so it does possess some skill. Although Sun E couldn't see the detailed attributes of the contracted ghost's body like he could see a game panel. But he could now sense that Blood Lotus had maxed out her thinking speed. Even so, she still inevitably fell into a disadvantageous position. Sun E felt somewhat helpless. Although it won't be me who gets imprisoned in the ghost realm as a servant after the defeat. However, this would prevent me from making a contract with the Great Library. It's possible to submit a new contract request, but that would be very troublesome. Who knows what the new contract requirements will be? Will the next request be as simple as playing Go? Sunny noticed the unusual thing about Shuel Yan. Blood Lotus's body was trembling slightly. Her thought processes have begun to break through their original limits. Goodness, this is overclocked. Can we run DLSS again next time? Blood Lotus was clearly very unwilling and felt quite guilty. She was calculating with all her might. Unfortunately, the ghost brain is still no match for AI. Well, at least at this stage, it's incomparable. Maybe it would be possible once you reach a higher level and your inspiration improves. It's impossible to deduce the path to victory simply by looking at the chessboard and calculating. So, what should we do now? Sun E began to ponder. Looking at the chessboard on the side, there were already many black pieces that had been captured by the Blood Lotus. Then I recalled what that old ghost referee said earlier. We must follow the latest version of the rules. Hey, I've got an idea. Sun E gently patted Shuel Yan's shoulder. I'll do it. The referee had no objection, since the demon tamer and the contracted demon were essentially one entity. It doesn't matter who plays chess. Blood Lotus looked dejected. She lowered her head. Feel sorry. I stood up and gave up my seat. The ghost sitting opposite, in the large library, frowned slightly. It's not that I'm against changing the player. She just felt something was strange. Instead of playing chess with the contracted demon, they switched to playing chess with the demon tamer. What's the difference between picking up a piece with your left hand and then with your right? Sunny sat down with a confident air. Then he gave away 7 coins in a row. If Blood Lotus's previous chess playing was a desperate struggle and a difficult resistance, when Sunny plays chess, he's basically just giving away points. All the female ghosts, including Blood Lotus, were dumbfounded. After capturing another of Sunny's pieces, the Great Library ghost couldn't help but let out a soft chuckle. You should believe your female ghost more. They were locked in a tense battle with Blood Lotus, but then Sun E came along and messed things up, instantly turning the tide of the game from a draw to a one-sided affair. Brother Sun E, after we're locked up here, can we bring our TV from home? I want to watch the children's channel at 7 p.m. Ing Meng suddenly asked a question. She seemed to have already resigned herself to losing. Gang Ying looked at Sun E with a strange expression. You wouldn't be after someone just to become their male concubine, would you? It was clear that the female ghosts were wavering. Of course, they remained 100% loyal to Sun E, but they simply couldn't understand his behavior at this moment. The large library placed the grapes on the chessboard cover. But by this time the black stones were already covered, and quite a few were even spilling out, forming a small mountain. Sun E stared intently at the chess piece cover. The third piece had already been revealed. We've reached the kill threshold. Forget about skillful techniques. I might as well just raise my hand. Raise your hand and point to the chessboard cover. The ghost of the Great Library? The butler glanced carefully at the chess piece cover that Sun E was pointing to, nodded, and then announced. Sun E wins. The female ghost in the large library was stunned for a moment, not knowing what had happened. Huh? Why? Because your piece did not fall into the covered area. You had 2 chances, and you have violated the rules a 3rd time. Therefore, you are automatically disqualified according to the rules, ma'am. The butler said respectfully. The oath is quite powerful. The judgment will be made fairly and completely according to the rules, even if the butler ghost has been with the Great Library for countless years. But shouldn't I get a warning when I break the rules? Based on examples of Go in the human world, violations of the rules are not flagged. Although I don't understand it either, that's how they operate. The butler ghost explains. Where is the composed and unhurried demeanor of the female ghost from the Grand Library now? He looked like he was about to cry. Hey, this makes absolutely no sense. Sun E didn't care about any of that. If you have any problems, go to the Go Association. Anyway, according to the oath, the core demon of the Great Library now belongs to him. Sun E raised his left hand, making a contract gesture. And what about the female ghost in the Great Library? Even though she was extremely unwilling, she had no choice but to agree to the contract. After all, the consequence of breaking a vow is utter destruction. Damn it, I won't accept this. You cheated. Even though the female ghost from the Great Library was already holding hands with Sun E, she still looked sullen. A surge of Sun Yi's spiritual energy shot into her body from his palm, eventually forming a thin film of spiritual energy around her body. With that, the contract was complete, and Sun E officially obtained his own information-type contract ghost. Calling you lady every day is too awkward. From now on, you'll be called Yen Ryu. There are beautiful women in books, after all. Huh? I thought they'd name her Patchouli. Tang Shi rarely complained, and she seemed quite surprised. I never knew she was a hidden anime/manga fan. But these days, can Toho still really be considered part of the anime/manga genre? That's a bit off topic. Yen Ryu eventually calmed down and accepted the fact that she had been bound by the contract. Sun E was actually a little curious. When he looked at the encyclopedia before, he learned that the common book ghosts had a side effect of causing nearsightedness due to the contract. That's how he got his teacher by Yongfeng's glasses, which were thicker than the bottom of a beer bottle. Yen Ryu, who exists above the book demon. What are her side effects? Yen Ryu gazed at Sun E. My mind holds information about the entire library's collection. In return for this knowledge, you must offer your ability to read. Yen Ryu's contract side effect is dyslexia. It won't affect eyesight, but it can directly alter a person's brain. It completely deprives people of the ability to read. All written information, regardless of the language, will always appear as just a bunch of incomprehensible symbols to a person with dyslexia. They'll make you illiterate, and forcibly at that. Of course, Sun E isn't that stubborn. The list of side effects transferees had long been replaced by Du Tung, the leader of the Purgatory Battle Group. The current transfer list includes Gao Ba, Luo Yuanliang, Xiao Jianren, Du Ting, and Hu Wansan. Hu Wansan was the captain of the Gatekeeper Squad of the Purgatory Battle Group who had fought Sun E at the entrance of the Ghost Domain before. Of the list we got from them before, he's the only one still alive. Yen Ryu blinked, realizing that something was wrong with Sun E. It seems you sacrificed the reading ability of many more people? You really are extraordinary. Gain additional sacrifice rewards, cognitive dissociation. Yen Ryu. Rank, mid, 5-star. Additional sacrifice bonus, cognitive dissociation. Enemies discovered by Yen Ryu will gradually become vulnerable, losing up to 100% of their armor and magic resistance, can be actively activated or deactivated. Skill 1, Analytical Gaze. Targets gazed upon by Yen Ryu will continuously gain information about the target as the gaze lasts, with more information appearing over time. Passive skill, 5 stars. Second skill, Living Map. Yen Ryu possesses a real-time map recording the location of everything within a 1-kilometer radius. It can be activated at any time, but continuously consumes inspiration points while activated. 5 stars. Third skill, Global Silence, to be unlocked, requires 500 pain points to unlock. Information about Yen Ryu appeared in Sun Yi's mind. Sun Yi's original idea was that Yen Ryu, as the superior being of the Book Ghost, should have her skills enhanced. But I never expected it to be strengthened to this extent. In the standard version of the Book Ghost map, the map can only display general information about the surrounding area and cannot show specific units. It only uses dark colors to indicate whether there are people or not. And Yen Ryu? She can directly open a real-time map similar to a surveillance camera. You can see everything clearly, including what's around you, who's there, and even what they're doing. The skill Analysis Gaze is a superior version of the ghostly recognition skill for ordinary books. Name recognition is simple. After staring at the target for a while, you recognize the name. There is only the name, nothing else. But what about Yen Ryu? Not only do they have names, but you can also glean more information as you gaze at them. Now Sun Yi understood why Yen Ryu could immediately tell him her name and address when they first met. So that's why she was using the analytical gaze on herself. Moreover, this can be seen from the fact that Yen Ryu used this move to check his intentions before. The information analyzed by the skill is quite extensive. This is only the initial stage. We'll upgrade it later. I wonder how amazing the effects can be. Add to that the bonus passive skill of Sacrifice, and it's absolutely overpowered. Once detected by Yen Ryu, armor and magic resistance will continuously decrease until they are completely lost. This gave Yen Ryu, who was originally only qualified to serve as an information provider, an additional role in combat. It even thoughtfully allows users to actively choose to turn it on or off to prevent the enemy from detecting their reconnaissance. Absolutely perfect. As for this third skill, unlock Yen Ryu's third skill. Sun Yi, who had just fought a deadly battle with a 5-star Ghost Master, was still suffering a lot of pain. A mere 500 pain points, easily overcome. Third skill, Global Silence. Keep quiet in the library. Yen Ryu silences all enemy units appearing on the living map, preventing them from using any active skills or making any sound. The silence lasts for 15 seconds. 5 stars, 5-minute cooldown. This skill is linked to the second skill. Sun Yi discovered Yen Ryu's new skill, which is an extremely large area silence skill that takes effect based on the range of her second skill, the living map. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? The silence effect is quite deadly for enemies who need to cast spells frequently. Although Shadow Dream, who plays a control role in the team, also has Nightmare, it is ultimately a single target skill. Yen Ryu represents a massive area of collective silence. This skill will be incredibly powerful when facing large numbers of mage-type enemies later on. In fact, there are many similar strategic maneuvers in the battles of the Demon Slayer, especially when entering higher levels of combat. The physical stats of a contracted ghost alone are far from sufficient. No matter how high the damage of a skill, it can't be used if you're silenced. Amidst their conversation and laughter, Yen Ryu also rose and approached Sun Yi. She wasn't actually very tall. She had to look up to meet Sun Yi's gaze. He was wearing a pure white graduation gown, a section of which dragged on the ground. Judging from her appearance, she is about 16 or 17 years old. A bet's a bet, let's go. Yen Ryu sighed and said this. At this moment, she didn't seem particularly unwilling. After briefly explaining the follow-up arrangements for organizing the books to the butler, Yen Ryu left with Sun Yi. You ask me why I asked her to give her instructions before she died? These are all bond points, bro. I named it, and then left time to finalize things after I left, adding a total of 5 points to my bond. Not bad. The next step is to go to the Storm Mountains to find the mobile demon contract. Once everything is found, We can report back to Vice Principal Xinghe and prepare for the upcoming league matches. This trip to the Ghost Realm directly leveled me up to mid-3 stars. I wonder how much I'll level up by the time I go to the Storm Mountains. Who knows, maybe next time I go back to school, I'll be a 4-star Demon Slayer. It's hard to say. With that thought in mind, Sun Yi took out the space beacon and activated the return mode. After that, simply turn back in the direction marked by the beacon, and you can leave the Ghost Realm smoothly. The group then left. The lowest level of the large library has also become deserted again. It became even quieter after Yen Ryu left. Behind the heavy doors, the sound of the waves continued. Until a light and graceful figure appeared at the broken part of the book wall. Wearing sportswear, Yushika landed slowly with the help of her spiritual powers. Oi, admin, where did you put the comics I stored here last time? Yushika, who longed for the human world, greeted him with a verbal tic she had picked up from watching short videos. She always disliked speaking in official jargon unless she was in the castle. The Shadow Kingdom is strictly governed, so Yushika's treasured comics can only be secretly hidden in this large library, and she can only come and get them when she wants to read them. Huh? Where's the ghost? Looking around, the chairs that should have been occupied by librarians were now empty. Finally, in the dimly lit, spacious room, echoed the screams of a queen who had broken down. My comic book. The entrance to the Ghost Realm of the Great Library. Several top-tier experts from the Purgatory Battle Group stood around Du Ting, all of whom were late-stage 5-star Ghost Masters. Hu Wansen stumbled to Du Ting, knelt down, and handed him the documents. Commander, this is a description of the situation I've encountered. According to the rules of the guild, when a problem arises during a mission, a written explanation must be submitted. Regarding paperwork, Hu Wansen wrote down how his squad was defeated by the Nameless Youth, and how his team members were cursed and died suddenly. The murderous intent on Du Ting's face was almost tangible. He took the document and examined it, as if a judge were reviewing the book of life and death. However, Du Ting suddenly noticed something was wrong. It is indeed written in Huxia. But why can't I understand it all now? Du Ting did not show it particularly obviously. As a regimental commander, maintaining the commander's authority is of paramount importance. Never lower your standards in front of your subordinates. Suddenly, a high-ranking member of the battle group stepped forward to report. Commander, the Glorious Legion is here, and their numbers are no less than ours. Du Ting frowned. Damn it, it's the Radiant chapter again. Every time I try to do something in the city, these people get in my way. They clearly established themselves in Shanghai by relying on their powerful demon-controlling abilities. They insist on claiming to be righteous and cooperating with the Shanghai government to maintain social order. If I get entangled with these people, how can I investigate my son's affairs? Du Ting didn't believe the Glorious Legion would let him enter the Ghost Realm. So, what do we do now? Du Ting's deep eyes shifted, looking at a high-ranking member of the battle group beside him. Lu Shifa, leader of the covert operations team of the Purgatory Warband, is a 6-star early-stage combatant who has vaguely reached the bottleneck of the 6-star mid-stage and is currently applying to the Warband for breakthrough materials. Having a contracted spirit can assist in high-speed, stealthy operations, making it ideal for shady missions. For example, he might suddenly enter the Ghost Realm to avenge his son. The experienced Lu Shifa understood the mission from Du Ting's eyes. Commander, I'll handle it. After finding out the cause, kill the murderer on the spot to avenge my son. Du Ting nodded slightly in satisfaction, and Lu Shifa respectfully took a few steps back before completely disappearing from sight. The Ghost Realm is in no man's land. No one will care what happens. However, if someone openly enters the Ghost Realm with the intention of killing, they will still be punished. The Radiant Battle Group is almost here. If Du Ting, the leader of the Purgatory Battle Group, isn't there, they'll have a reason to enter the Ghost Realm together, which will cause even more trouble. What Du Ting needs to do next is to negotiate with the Radiant Legion outside the Ghost Realm to buy time for Lu Shifa. To be honest, I was a little scared when I made the contract. Sun Yi suddenly spoke. What are you afraid of? Gang Ying, who was leading the way and was idly clearing the path, turned around and asked. Even though the ghost domain had been cleared, the cautious Sun Yi still insisted on advancing in the normal formation. Since Yen Ryu had just joined the team, there wasn't a place for her in the formation, so she stayed next to Sun Yi. However, a contracted ghost like her, who has absolutely no combat ability, probably wouldn't have a place in a battle formation, right? Isn't Yenryu a core ghost? I was worried that after forming a contract with a core ghost, the entire ghost realm would collapse and the whole thing would turn into a classic escape scene straight out of a movie. Sun-E spoke slowly. It's like those adventure movies. After obtaining the treasure at the end of the maze, the entire maze will collapse, or something similar. Sun-E was like this before in White Mist Town. After Tang Shi signed the contract, the fog dissipated. But it seems that the Great Library's ghost realm is still quite stable at this moment. It's the librarians who need the library, not the other way around. Yenryu, who was beside him, spoke slowly. A faint scent of ink from book pages wafted from her. What's wrong with us? After sitting in libraries for hundreds of years, have we become pickled in books? Sun-E didn't understand why this was happening either. Let's try out Yenryu's skills, everyone. A faint blue aura of inspiration flashed, and a heavy, living map appeared in Sun-Yi's hand. Sun-E held Yenryu's living map in his hand. The newly contracted demons naturally need to have their abilities tested. It was a particularly thick hardcover book. It's about the same size as a high school textbook, but much thicker. It feels very nice to the touch. The entire booklet feels substantial in my hand. Sun-E kept playing with and stroking the map, tapping the book cover and listening to the sound it made. Open it again, flip through a page at random, and feel the thickness and texture of the pages. It feels like inspecting the guns in your hand in a game. I like it more and more the more I look at it. Sun-E thoroughly enjoyed the inspection. However, there is no content inside, only by activating inspiration and using skills will the nearby map appear. Moreover, although the map is a physical object, it can transform into a spirit at any time, floating in midair and automatically turning pages. You can even view the map information directly in your mind without summoning Yenryu. That's possible. But as we all know, the world values ritual above all else. Therefore, the functionality of physical maps has been retained. This also makes it easier for Sun-E to share map information with his teammates in the future. If you have teammates. After all that talk, the live map feature still hasn't been activated. Yenryu, open the map. Sun-E gave the order. Yenryu took the atlas, activated her spiritual power, and when she opened it again, it had transformed into a map of the surrounding area. A winding, meandering road can be seen on the map. This is the stable pathway that Sun-E left in the large library using spatial beacons. The rest of the work was sloppy and messy. That is, spaces that are not fixed by beacons are constantly changing and therefore cannot be clearly marked on a map. There are 7 blue dots in the center of the map, which naturally represent Sun-E and the female ghosts. As for that red dot rapidly approaching from a distance. Holy crap! Sun-E was dumbfounded. What the hell is that? Is it rapidly approaching me? The ghosts in the ghost realm are all of the weak, scholarly type, mainly relying on magic attacks for damage. Even the core ghost Yenryu, her physical functions are only SOSO. All the inspiration was channeled into his own skills. His physical strength is probably not even as good as Gang Ying's at the mid-stage of the 3-star level. Even lower than Gang Ying. With that kind of power, you're saying a ghost capable of constant high-speed movement could appear in the ghost realm? Sun-E didn't believe it. Yenryu, staring intently at the red dot on the map, reported the opponent's strength information. Human Ghost Master Lu Shifa, early stage of 6 stars. That's right, Yenryu's first skill, Analytical Gaze, does not require gazing at the target. It can be used in conjunction with the second skill, Living Map. You can obtain information simply by staring at the opponent's marker on the map. Sun Yi's heart tightened. Early stage of 6 stars. This is quite a gap between his actual strength and his abilities. Previously, when fighting Liao Ruofei, who was in the early stages of a 5-star battle, Sun-E almost had to choose to end the battle quickly because his own inspiration energy couldn't keep up with the consumption. Another 6-star Onmyoji has arrived? No, even if it means immediately using more pain points to upgrade our current main female ghosts to 6 stars. Sun-Yi's own inspiration couldn't sustain it either. Releasing skills deducts inspiration energy. This is a fundamental rule and cannot be transferred out as a side effect by the system. Just as Sun-E cannot transfer his burden to others through self-harm. It's a transfer of side effects, not a transfer of damage. What should we do then? Should we hide first? However, at this very moment. Or should we go back? Sun E plans to temporarily avoid direct confrontation. Each of the demon tamers who explore the ghost realm leaves behind their own fixed space. If there is only one person in the ghost realm, it is actually very easy to track them. You just need to follow the fixed space. However, the Great Library bears traces of exploration by members of the entire Purgatory chapter. Various fixed spatial trajectories are like a tangled ball of yarn. It's difficult to tell which of those questions belong to Sun E. Therefore, Sun E only needs to retreat and move to the fixed space left by the others. However, someone came up behind us, Yenryu reported truthfully. Her finger was on the living map. Behind Sun E, another red dot appeared, slowly approaching. Together with Lu Shifa, they formed a pincer movement against Sun E. What's their background? Yenryu continued to stare intently, quickly discerning the opponent's strength. Evil Spirit, late stage of 7 stars. Did you say? Sun E couldn't believe his ears for a moment. Behind us, a late-stage 7-star demon is approaching. Yenryu once again reported the truth. There are wolves in front and tigers behind. What to do? Sun E's current situation is quite passive. Hide quickly. Anyone with a sound mind wouldn't confront such a formidable opponent head-on. Goodness, that's a late-stage 7 stars cultivator. It was 2 whole major realms higher than his own peak combat strength. Even Xiaoyan would have to temporarily avoid his sharp edge. Sun E withdrew the female ghosts who were guarding him and quickly hid behind the mountain of books piled on the ground. At the same time, he also tried his best to suppress his inspiration. This is the best Sun E could do. The rest is up to fate. If things get too tough, Sun E has one last trick up his sleeve. Temporarily shut down the spatial beacon, then plunge headlong into the unsecured folded space. Once inside the folded space, Sun Yi's location changes constantly. Even if someone follows him with a spatial beacon, they might not be able to find him. Sun E only needs to reactivate the spatial beacon after shaking off his pursuers, and then slowly find his way out. However, this method is quite dangerous. If you're unlucky, you might still get trapped and die in the ghost realm. But it's still better than being slapped into a bloody mist by a late-stage 7 stars demon. There's no other way. We can only play it by ear for now. Sun E felt somewhat helpless. In fact, as long as there is pain value, the female ghost's ability to improve is basically not a problem. It's because my own inspirational abilities are at their limit. Thinking of this, Sun E swallowed another 4-star soul bead. The 5-star soul orbs should be saved for later when farming equipment. I need to upgrade to a 4-star Ghost Master as soon as possible, Sun E analyzed. The current ability of a 3-star Ghost Master to forcibly drive a 5-star female ghost is already quite strained. It's like trying to power an electromagnetic gun with a bunch of potato batteries. Are you kidding me? Furthermore, the efficiency of the soul-devouring pearl is currently unable to keep up with Sun Yi's upgrade needs. I'll have to go back and look for an even more powerful way to improve. On the other side, Lu Shifa, holding a spatial beacon, moved forward at breakneck speed, glancing around frequently along the way. Searching the entire ghost realm is unrealistic. But if we simply search through all the spaces that have been fixed in place by the Demon Slayer, given his efficiency, it's not too difficult. Moreover, according to intelligence, the entire ghost realm has been sealed off by the Purgatory Warband. If anyone is not from the Infernal Warband, then that person is highly suspicious. Let's find the young master's body first. Maybe we can find some clues there. That's his assessment. The young master's bodyguard possesses the strength of a 5-star early-stage warrior. Killing him would undoubtedly leave behind considerable traces. Just as Lu Shifa was contemplating moving forward, he saw a graceful and beautiful figure appear in the distance. Yushika rested her chin on her hand and looked around at the surrounding bookshelves. I remember hiding the comics around here? Where exactly? Ugh, I can't stand it. It's a complete mess everywhere. Don't those humans know how to keep the library tidy? She said, somewhat distraught. Suddenly, she looked ahead with a wary gaze. Although to the naked eye, there was nothing there. However, a special kind of inspiration came from that direction. Her 7-star inspiration is truly remarkable. Lu Shifa's reliance on the invisibility effect of the contract ghost was practically useless to Yuzika. Yushika made no attempt to conceal herself, so Lu Shifa easily discovered her. Who are you and why are you here? Lu Shifa materialized and interrogated him in a cold tone. Yushika did not emit any spiritual energy fluctuations. Unlike other wandering demons, it did not wear strange clothes. She wore a simple ponytail and a tracksuit. Judging by her appearance alone, you might mistake her for a young girl who accidentally wandered here during her morning run. But that's clearly impossible. While it is true that there are indeed ghost realms where lucky guests are randomly selected from the outside world to enter, but the ghost realm of the Great Library is not that type. Which faction do you belong to? Out of caution, Lu Shifa asked a brief question. There are quite a few powerful and influential families in Shanghai. The Purgatory chapter may act domineeringly, but there are some entities they cannot afford to offend. Shadow bloodline. Yushika responded coldly. Lu Shifa responded with a series of cold laughs. What third-rate power? Never even heard of it. I had assumed she came from a prominent family in Shanghai because of her extraordinary demeanor. That's all? That would make things simpler. You can basically find out about your young master by using any means of interrogation. Yushika, whose expression had been relatively relaxed, now looked as cold as ice. She was not a bloodthirsty demon, nor did she harbor any particular animosity towards humans. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the initiative to contact Sun Yi in the first place. But this doesn't mean Yushika has no temper, because she could sense the killing intent emanating from the other party. Furthermore, in the large library of her own study, she was scolded by an outsider for being there. This is like a thief breaking into your house and then righteously questioning the homeowner about why they are home. Anyone who can resist taking action is a superhuman. Yushika reached out and produced a beautifully crafted turquoise staff. Seeing Yushika take out a weapon, Lu Shifa's face revealed a ferocious smile. It seems that the girl in front of me is definitely involved in the young master's death. Further discussion is pointless. Let the fighting begin. Lu Shifa drew 2 daggers and held them in reverse. He did not release the contracted ghost. Remember the style we talked about before, where buffs are applied through contracted spirits and then the main body personally enters the battle? Lu Shifa is one of those ghost masters who focuses on the physical body. Most of his contracted spirits never show themselves, but instead remain hidden within his body, providing him with buffs. Soon, a crimson wave of spiritual energy wrapped around the dagger. That bloody, murderous aura was very similar to the aura Tang Shi exuded after activating the Mountain of Corpses and Sea of Blood. It's probably an enchantment that can cause bleeding effects. In addition, one buff after another appeared on him. Boosting speed, enhancing strength, adding elemental damage, it's endless. Sun Yi hid behind a pile of books, barely daring to breathe. However, he remained very curious. Who exactly was that female ghost with the strength of a late-stage 7-star? The voice sounds somewhat familiar. It's true that inspiration can enhance physical fitness, but it can't turn Sun Yi's eyes into human telescopes. Even from a distance of several tens of meters, and with the dim lighting within the ghost realm, it's still very difficult to see people clearly. This is the time for Yen Ryu to make her appearance. Yen Ryu, how is it? What's the background of that female ghost? Sun Yi asked in his mind. From the moment the two sides met and began their conversation, Yen Ryu had been staring intently at the female ghost. Finally, new information has been identified. Yen Ryu reported this in her mind. Master. Yen Ryu was somewhat surprised by her discovery. In fact, she had already made some judgments in her mind from the very beginning when she learned that the other party's spiritual power was at the late stage of the 7th star. However, Yen Ryu is the type who likes to be meticulous and rigorous. Otherwise, one wouldn't have the patience to stay in a large library and read books that are hundreds of years old. She wouldn't make a judgment without evidence. But now, the evidence is irrefutable, and it's time for her to state her judgment. What's wrong? Are you someone important? Sun Yi asked. Very, very big. How big? She is the Queen of Shadows. Dao Queen mean? Sun Yi was still in a daze for a moment. He couldn't quite understand it. It wasn't that he didn't know what the Shadow Queen meant. That's just a statement. This is clearly the ghost realm of the Great Library. And shouldn't the Shadow Queen be in the old Shadow City? How did I get here? Could it be that the ghost realms are actually interconnected? After a brief moment of surprise, Sun Yi quickly and forcefully suppressed his spiritual power once more. In such a dangerous situation, once exposed, one doesn't know what the consequences will be. In an instant, the female ghosts inside her started arguing. Ganging was the first to speak. Holy crap, Master, are you out of your mind? One's a 7-star, the other's a late-stage 6-star. You're just going to stand by and watch this godlike battle. Get out of here while things are chaotic. No, if we are noticed by one of them while moving, there is a very high probability that we will be attacked, Blood Lotus retorted. The Shadow Queen, why did she come here alone? Tang Xie was more concerned about this. Wow, is that Her Majesty the Queen? This is the first time I've ever seen her. Ying Ming was as curious as ever. Jiwu's feelings were somewhat complicated. After all, the Shadow Queen was, in a way, her former boss's boss. There were many layers between them, otherwise they wouldn't have never even seen the Queen's face. Even Her Majesty the Queen, if she were to harm our master, I would fight with all my might. Jiwu was filled with fighting spirit. Yenryu, the newest member of the team, was still examining the living map in her hand next to Sun Yi. Whether moving forward or backward, all paths of movement are blocked. We can either wait until they're done fighting, or we can create a new, fixed space to leave. However, as far as I know, when you humans establish a new space, you leave very obvious traces, right? That makes you very easy to track. Yenryu, like Shuel Yan, was a rational person, and she analyzed the situation carefully. Sun Yi nodded. That's absolutely true. If you rashly use a spatial beacon to establish a new, stable space to leave, this is tantamount to explicitly stating to the two sides about to go to war that a third party is involved. The only option now is to remain unchanged and avoid conflict. However, Sun Yi was still somewhat puzzled by the sudden appearance of the Shadow Queen. Shouldn't these kinds of dungeon bosses usually sit obediently on their thrones, waiting for someone to push open the castle gates before rising up and letting out a wild, evil laugh, or something like that? How could it leave the instance on its own? Sun Yi found it hard to understand. However, no matter how difficult it is to understand, it doesn't stop Sun Yi from watching the game. As a demon tamer, Sun Yi's basic physical abilities are much stronger than those of a normal person after his spiritual power enters his body. They watched from afar as the Shadow Queen confronted Lu Shifa, the ghost master of the Purgatory Warband who had come to purge the ghost realm. It's a bit of a shame, though, that it's not very clear. Sun Yi only saw the Shadow Queen's figure. Why was she much smaller than he had imagined? She doesn't quite resemble the traditional, glamorous, and noble queen type. Sun Yi desperately wanted to see what that infamous, legendary evil spirit looked like. Unfortunately, it's really hard to see clearly. Sun Yi didn't have a contracted ghost that could enhance his eyesight. Yenryu's ability only allowed her to see the positions of both parties more clearly, as well as their respective identities. They also cannot provide specific images of its appearance. If I upgrade my skill a few more times, will I be able to provide images? Sun Yi wondered. Lu Shifa unleashed his late-stage 6-star inspiration power without reservation. The terrifying pressure shattered the surrounding bookshelves, sending papers flying everywhere. Sun Yi could sense that Yenryu was somewhat unhappy about this. As a former administrator, her behavior was no different from causing trouble. Lu Shifa grinned maliciously, waiting to see the girl in front of him show a look of terror. That expression of despair, helplessness, and fear when faced with overwhelming power. Lu Shifa liked this the most, to fully demonstrate his strength before killing his target. Ahem, let me explain. This mentality, to put it bluntly, is simply enjoying dominating weaker opponents. However, the girl holding the staff in front of him showed no surprise whatsoever. His proud 6-star strength seemed to be nothing more than air. That's a 6-star Ghost Master. This can already be considered high-level combat power, a level that enjoys great privileges in society. Based on one's own strength, one can be treated as an honored guest wherever one goes or by any power. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to become the leader of the Purgatory battle group. Thinking of this, Lu Shifa's expression became even more ferocious. However, something surprising happened. The girl in front of him instantly unleashed a spiritual power just as strong as his own. However, the pages that were blown away seemed to be controlled by some kind of telekinetic force, and after flying out, they were neatly stacked on the ground. Yenryu nodded in satisfaction. However, Sun Yi was puzzled. What does that mean? Isn't she a late-stage 7-star? Why does her spiritual power seem like that of a 6-star? Sun Yi asked, puzzled. After all, The level difference was too great, and Sun E, as a 3-star Ghost Master, could not distinguish in detail which stage of the 6-star level it was. But it's definitely not the 7 stars. But something even more surprising happened. After the Shadow Queen revealed a spiritual energy fluctuation at the same level as her opponent, she then picked up her own staff, twisted it, and broke it in two, like 2 daggers, which she held in both hands. Even his posture was exactly the same as Lu Shifa's. Imitation? The Shadow Queen's ability is imitation. Sun E immediately had a guess in his mind. Right. Yen Ryu nodded. Moreover, it's a more advanced form of imitation, she continued explaining. What's the meaning? The student surpasses the teacher, Yen Ryu said in a refined manner. But in the next instant, Sun E understood what that meant. All that could be seen was that the same scarlet spiritual energy fluctuations, just like Lu Shifa's, emanated from the staffs that the Shadow Queen wielded in pairs. There are other bonuses as well, such as increased speed, increased strength, and additional elemental damage. She used every single contracted ghost skill that Lu Shifa had previously used on herself. Moreover, it's quite noticeable. The buffs she replicated were even stronger than Lu Shifa's originals. This is what is meant by the student surpasses the teacher. Copy your skills and make them even stronger than the original. Holy crap, I thought this kind of demon, bearing the title of queen, would have some even more devastating abilities. I never expected its ability to be copy and paste. Sun E exclaimed in shock. But perhaps this is part of the Shadow Queen's terrifying aspect? She copied even the most devastating skills and made them even stronger than the originals. It's just a weird mechanism. Hika frowned slightly. The multiplier is a bit too high. It's not fun playing, she said, puzzled. Immediately afterwards, the inspiration emanating from her changed again. 6-star early game, 5-star late game, 5-star mid game, 5-star early game. It eventually dropped all the way down to the late 4-star stage. What does this mean? Is she deliberately suppressing her inspiration? Sun E was completely dumbfounded. Is this even possible? Thinking the battles are too easy, so you're increasing their difficulty yourself? The fact that the opponent could rise to the position of leader of the Purgatory battle group speaks volumes about their strength. Even the most ordinary 6-star early-stage Oni master can boost the contracted spirit solely through their abundant spiritual power. That's enough to clear a medium-sized 4-star ghost realm by itself. Do you know what a clearing image is? Literally, it means to kill everything inside, to wipe out all the evil spirits without leaving a single one alive. What's more, these are the elite among the demon slayers. Faced with such an opponent, why would the Shadow Queen willingly lower her strength to 4 stars for the sake of so-called fun? Lu Shifa gripped the dagger tightly and let out a cold snort. Arrogant. Although it was unclear why the girl in front of him possessed the same strong spiritual power as him. But she actually chose to suppress her true strength during the battle. He's still just a kid. Even a lion uses its full strength to hunt a rabbit. You don't even understand such a simple principle. Lu Shifa wasn't stupid. He knew there was something strange about the girl in front of him. Can you imitate my abilities? Then I'll let you have the life to copy it, but not the life to use it. If I strike first and use my skill, I can kill the enemy instantly. What does it matter if you copy my valuable skills? Lu Shifa felt a surge of spiritual energy coursing through his body, preparing to unleash the ghostly ghost's shadow backstab skill. The effect is to transform into a ghostly shadow and stab the opponent from behind. The speed of activation is extremely fast, and even a mid-stage 6-star opponent who is 1 level higher than oneself may not be able to react in time. Moreover, this person in front of them had their strength suppressed to the late stage of the 4th star. Pfft. The staff, imbued with a crimson aura, pierced through Lu Shifa's chest from behind. The moment Lu Shifa began to launch his shadow backstab, Yushika had already completed the shadow backstab, piercing Lu Shifa's chest with a single backstab. The latecomer surpasses the early bird. 1 strike, 1 kill. Lu Shifa's face turned deathly pale instantly, and his life force rapidly drained away. It's not that he lacked the skills to save his life, nor that he didn't take precautions to protect his body. However, all these defenses were broken through one by the dagger he had copied. The crimson spiritual energy, burning like flames, relentlessly eroded Lu Shifa's blood like locusts. Why? Lu Shifa struggled to squeeze out these last few words. That shouldn't be the case. He was unwilling to accept it. He should have won easily, then seen the girl kneeling on the ground in tears begging for mercy, and then humiliated her in every way before killing her. That should be the case. How could it have turned out like this? Why did I lose? Unfortunately, Lu Shifa could no longer say anything more. His life was like a candle flickering in the wind. Then, just like the countless targets who died at his hands, Lu Shifa's life force was completely devoured, and he collapsed and died. The Great Library is outside the Ghost Realm. Sun Yi's teacher, Bai Yongfeng, and Zhao Yan, the leader of the glorious battle group, stood in front of Du Ting, followed by a large number of battle group ghost masters. The Glorious Legion has a deep partnership with the Shanghai municipal government, jointly responsible for public safety in the Shanghai area. Zhao Yan himself also holds multiple positions. He is both the leader of the combat team and the public security officer appointed by the Shanghai government, possessing law enforcement authority. Du Ting, I am saddened by your death in the Ghost Realm. But what is the meaning of your mobilization and the sealing off of the public Ghost Realm? Zhao Yan questioned. What do you mean? My son is dead. Can't I even investigate? Du Ting roared. But that roar was all an act. After all, he had already let his trusted confidant Lu Shifa go in. Given Lu Shifa's skills, it shouldn't be long before he completes the investigation and exacts his revenge. Skip directly to the step of having to meet someone alive. Just the body. Du Ting's style has always been like this, built on overwhelming strength, absolutely domineering. Leave with your men immediately, or I will detain them all on charges of endangering public safety. What, you really think I'm afraid of you? Du Ting's acting was so realistic, so menacing, that he looked like he was about to engage in a gang fight. He may be a bad person, but he's not stupid. With a frantic gesture in his eyes, Du Ting's trusted aides stepped forward to persuade him. Commander, if we go to war with them, the Warband's exploration of several ghost realms in Shanghai will likely be hindered. Du Ting sighed. Okay, let's go then. After saying that, he left with the members of the Purgatory Warband. Zhao Yan was stunned. What the hell is going on here? They stormed in to seal off the Ghost Realm, only to turn back after being persuaded by their own subordinates? Bai Yongfeng pushed up his glasses. I feel this has something to do with Sun Yi. Zhao Yan looked at his longtime friend and comrade in arms beside him. You mean your new ghost actress? The fact that one's constitution is unaffected by the female ghost's side effects is truly remarkable. Zhao Yan murmured. Impressive, right? I taught you. Bai Yongfeng leaned back strategically in his wheelchair. However, in a few months, I'm afraid I won't have anything left to teach him. To improve further, the only way will likely be to complete a large number of real-world missions and accumulate experience. Bai Yongfeng continued. Zhao Yan nodded. I do have a quest here that involves a female ghost, which should be perfect for him. Specifically, it's related to the Shadow Queen in Shadow Kingdom, inside the ghost realm of the Great Library. Snort. The Shadow Queen snorted coldly and reassembled her staff. She's killed far too many blind human demon slayers like this. Sun Yi watched with a very serious expression. This battle taught us a lot. The Shadow Queen possesses the ability to copy the opponent's skills. Moreover, the copied skills will be much stronger than the original, by many times. So strong that even if their level is far inferior to their opponents, they're strong enough to turn the tables and kill them. Moreover, she possesses a remarkably precise and skillful ability to control her inspiration. Suppressing levels is something not everyone can do. It's not that you automatically master it once you reach a higher level. This requires a natural, powerful, precise, and meticulous ability to control one's inspiration. In addition, she seems to possess some kind of telekinesis, allowing her to control the movement of objects remotely. Sun Yi analyzed it carefully. Yan Ryu was also present, compiling Sun Yi's thoughts and analysis into a detailed report so that Sun Yi could easily access and review it later. Yes, Yan Ryu is extremely skilled at handling paperwork. She has a natural love for recording and dealing with information. She was like Sun Yi's secretary. Yan Ryu's fingertips traced across the pages of the book, and wherever they touched, words appeared as if printed. Writing with inspiration, isn't that amazing? Sun Yi pondered for a moment, then felt that the battle with the Shadow Queen just now was somewhat strange. I don't think this is right, Sun Yi frowned. If all the skills you see can be copied, then theoretically the Shadow Queen should master hundreds or even thousands of skills, or even more. But why doesn't she use those skills? Sun E pointed out the contradiction he had felt earlier. Could this reveal the unique characteristics of the Shadow Queen's copy ability? For example, can you only remember something after using it yourself at least once? Or was it simply out of arrogance, or perhaps a desire to toy with one's opponent? I particularly enjoy this feeling of turning the tables on someone using their own methods. Why is that? Sun E wondered, puzzled. At that moment, a somewhat familiar voice sounded behind Sun E. It's simply because I'm too lazy to remember so many skills. Yushika smiled and spoke slowly. And Sun E turned around and saw Yushika. A lot of things flashed through his mind. A very, very large number. For example, is the girl in front of me really Yushika? Is the Shadow Queen actually Yushika? If that's really the case, then the girl I chatted so happily with at Shadow Castle is actually the Shadow Queen, the strongest being in the entire Ghost Realm. So, what should I do now? Should we continue this normal conversation or flee for our lives immediately? Or will they strike first to gain the upper hand, or will they immediately kneel down and beg for mercy, relying on past favors? Regardless of which option was chosen, Sun Yi's body moved first. That's the body's fighting instinct. Gang Ing appeared behind Sun E with her shield raised, desperately defending against Yushika's sudden backstab attack. After all, she had just used this very move to instantly kill a 6-star Ghost Master. But then I thought, Gang Ing is only a 3-star character. You mean you want a mid-stage 3-star female ghost to block the attack of a late-stage 7-star female ghost? With such a difference in rank, let alone Xiaoyan, even if you sent Lin Chia today, it wouldn't work. In short, Sun E reacted like a wild animal reacting to stress. He jumped back with a start, only to find Gang Ing behind him, ready to defend against a backstab. In addition, to enhance his physical strength, he directly activated the possession technique, transferring the power of Tang Shi, currently a top-tier combatant, to his body. Sun E didn't know what the other party was thinking, and he couldn't gamble. Yushika was surprised by Sun Yi's huge reaction and covered her mouth to burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, Sun E, what's this all about? You've already forgotten me. Am I Yushika? Her tone remained as calm as it had been in Shadow Castle. It was as if the battle that just killed Lu Shifa had never happened. But Sun E probably won't be able to calm down so easily. Good boy. Standing before her was a female ghost at the late stage of the 7 Stars realm, possessing the power to easily destroy an entire demon city. That feeling of being on the verge of death is awful. Seeing Sun Yi's appearance, Yoshi didn't move any closer to provoke him. He just stood there, gazing at the boy in front of him. The stalemate lasted for a short while. Shadow Queen, no, Yushika, what are you doing here? Sun E then spoke up and asked. Yushika did not respond. She went to the pile of books where Sun E had previously hidden and pushed aside the stacks of old books. At the very bottom of the pile of books, there was a complete set of comics. Finally found it. Yushika exclaimed excitedly, picking up the comic book. The housekeeper never lets me see these things, so I can only secretly look at them here, she said with a mischievous smile. Her words, actions, tone, and attitude were exactly like those of an ordinary young girl. If I hadn't witnessed her piercing Lu Shifa's chest with her staff. Even if Yen Ryu reports that she is the Shadow Queen, Sun E will likely just think that Yen Ryu made a mistake. Who would have thought? That strange girl who secretly came from the ghost realm to freeload Emil. She's a notorious and powerful female ghost. As Yushika spoke, she suddenly stared at Sun E for a while. Sun E felt a little uneasy under their gaze. Sun E probably knew that Yushika didn't harbor any hostility towards him. Otherwise, there would be no need for so much nonsense. When you discover yourself, a backstab from afar will finish you off in an instant. But caution is still necessary. Sun E knew perfectly well that he wouldn't die because Yushika was in a good mood. If you accidentally offend her, your fate won't be any better than Lu Shifa's. Sun E would rather do nothing than make a mistake. That's how it is now, at least for now. Let's wait and see. After watching for a while, Yushika suddenly burst out laughing again. So that's why the librarian wasn't here. Turns out you kidnapped him. Yushika laughed. The tone was normal, like someone joking with a friend. There was no hint of blame, nor did it sound sarcastic. How to respond? This really put Sun-yi in a difficult position. What should we do? The main problem was that he didn't know what role Yenryu played in Yoshi's life. Is it important? Sun-yi was very worried that if he answered incorrectly or accidentally touched one of Yoshika's trigger points while speaking, he would be killed in the next instant. Ding, host in trouble detected, dialogue assistance mode activated. Based on the current context, 3 possible answer options will be extracted. Fortunately, the system acted quickly, and 3 options appeared in front of Sun-yi. Yes, that's exactly how Gala Gemuli acted. The last time the system displayed this function was in the training room of Sun-yi's dormitory when he was practicing swordsmanship with Tang Shi. I just wanted to mention it so that everyone wouldn't forget. Let's take a look at the options. Option 1, arrogantly, so what? One more word and I'll take you down with me. Option 2, feigning weakness. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Please forgive me. Option 3, read and replied randomly. I still think adding a little sugar to the tomato and egg dish would enhance the flavor. Sun-yi. What the hell is all this? Can I not choose? These options are extracted from all parallel universes. They represent the speaking options that allow the host to reach the optimal branch. The system's unspoken message is, if Sun-yi answers with anything else, the optimal result cannot be achieved. Sun-yi found it hard to imagine just how incredible the events behind these statements might be. The first option was met with an extremely arrogant response, and the person even threatened to take down Yoshika along with the others if they kept babbling on. It seems like a suicide option. But what if Yoshika is a masochist? Could it be that she's actually some kind of love-starved caged bird, easily kidnapped by anyone? Lu Shifa shouldn't be included in the anyone selection range. That's a bit of a hellish joke. But since it can be offered as an option, it must be reasonable. What about the second option? Did he utterly humiliate himself by kneeling down, weeping, and begging for forgiveness? Was this an attempt to evoke Yoshika's compassion, or did she simply believe that this kind of apology would be more effective? Judging from Yoshika's previous behavior, she should be able to reason, just like a normal human being. If Sun-yi simply apologized sincerely and explained his situation, it's not impossible that she'll forgive herself. What about the third option? There seems to be another explanation. Reading and replying randomly is basically just changing the subject. Moreover, judging from Yoshika's tone, she didn't seem to have any particular aversion to the fact that she had made a contract with Yenryu. It sounds like banter between friends. Continuing down this dangerous topic might not be wise. Perhaps the best solution would be to change the subject and talk about something else. Furthermore, considering the incident where Yuxika came to Sun-yi from the ghost realm of the Shadow Castle to freeload a meal, maybe she really is interested in cooking, or rather, in human food? Discussing whether or not to add sugar when making scrambled eggs with tomatoes might actually appeal to Yoshika, and if the queen is pleased, she might even offer some extra benefits. So, all 3 options are actually acceptable? So the question is, how should Sunny answer this? Female ghosts inside Sun-yi's body were constantly giving him advice. They couldn't see the options, but they were equally aware that their answer at this moment was crucial. If he's wrong, Sun-yi will be finished. As is widely known, the contracted spirit and the spirit master are of one mind and body. When the demon slayer dies, the contracted spirit also perishes. They also gave a lot of advice. But then Sun-yi suddenly remembered something. Hiss. Wrong? Since the system says these options point to the optimal subsequent paths. The implication is, even if I choose the most vehement statement, won't I get into trouble? Sun-yi discovered an important deduction. Because if he arrogantly finished speaking, Yoshika would instantly fly into a rage and kill him with her staff. How can such an outcome be considered optimal for oneself? Unless it means that the world is filled with nothing but despair, with no redemption, and death is the only optimal solution. However, judging from the events Sun-yi has experienced so far, it shouldn't be that exaggerated. Therefore, in conclusion, Sun-yi finally decided. That's reckless. Sun-yi took a deep breath, looked directly into Yoshika's eyes, and slowly opened his mouth. I did indeed sign a contract with the former librarian of this great library, but so what? Sun-yi struck what he thought was a very cool pose. Say one more word, or I'll make you a part of my contract too. Yoshika was immediately stunned, somewhat surprised. In Sun-yi's mind, the female ghosts were in complete uproar. Sun-E, are you serious? There's a time and place for being sarcastic. Gang-ing was the most anxious, quickly raising her shield to protect Sun-E behind her. Ji-woo and Tang-shi had already quietly applied their buffs and activated the necessary statuses ahead of time. Since Sun-E chose to provoke them, they naturally had to prepare for the battle to come. The military officers were eager to try their skills, but what was the civil official Yen Ryu doing? She held a blank book and frantically tried to type with her imagination. Sun-E, born in the year 2004 of the ghost calendar, was orphaned at a young age and has a deep affection for female ghosts. Yen Ryu has already begun summarizing Sun-Yi's life and writing his will. In short, they each have different forms of expression. However, this is without knowing Sun-Yi's thoughts. They all agreed that it was time to go to war with a powerful enemy, and it will likely be an extremely difficult battle for survival. Okay. Yushika nodded. Her eyes were so clear and innocent, it didn't seem like she was acting. Huh. Sun-E began to doubt his own ears. Did I hear that right? Did she agree? Now it's Sun-Yi's turn to be at a loss. Why did you agree so readily? That's not how it is in Jie La Gamuli. You should first politely decline, then try to increase your chances of getting along with them. Then we'd occasionally exchange gifts, get to know each other's feelings, and then on a special holiday, find a beautiful place to confess our love. Then I'll accept it, and then you should show me your exclusive CG. What do you mean by agreeing so readily? I don't accept it. Yushika glanced at Yen Ryu, who was standing behind Sun-E. I'm quite envious of the administrator. She was actually taken away by the contract and sent to the human world. It's because I'm not as skilled as others. I'm sorry. Since the topic had shifted to her own situation, Yen Ryu didn't dare not answer. After all, he is now Sun-Yi's contracted ghost, so his words naturally leaned towards Sun-Yi's side. As for the claim that Sun-E actually won through underhanded tactics, that's no longer important, okay? This is the tacit understanding between the contracted spirit and the demon tamer. Even before the contract was formed, the two were like mortal enemies, the kind of people who wanted to fight to the death. Once the contract is signed, everything that happened before is wiped clean. We're all one family. Why should we speak like two different people? Then let's go. Yushika looked at Sun-E and at the same time extended her hand in a particularly cooperative manner. The days of studying and training in the castle are nowhere near as exciting as the human world. Her eyes were full of anticipation. Sun-E is numb. Holy crap, is it really a free gift with just a click? However, there are limitations to the Demon Slayer's ability to contract with evil spirits. This does not refer to quantity restrictions. It's not about level restrictions. It's not that evil spirits can simply form a contract with a demon tamer if they want to. If the difference in level between the Demon Slayer and the demon is too great, even if a contract is made, it's impossible to control the contracted spirit. Otherwise, why would the heirs cultivated by those powerful families or influential forces need to work so hard to cultivate and catch ghosts? When you're at the novice Demon Slayer level, just have someone capture a few 5-star demons and contract them with him. Wouldn't that make him invincible? There's no way you can have such a good deal. If the skill gap exceeds 1 rank, forcing a contract will have side effects. Sun-E is fine because the side effects have been transferred. If the gap is more than 2 levels, then there is no risk, because such a contract has absolutely no practical effect. At most, it's just giving them a title, making it appear as if they've been bound by a contract when the evil spirits act. It's meaningless. Sun-E had no reason to form a contract with Yushika, or rather, with the Shadow Queen. Insufficient strength. Too low. If Sun-E were a 5-star ghost master now, he would definitely rush up and start snapping his fingers, as if afraid that Yushika would change her mind. But Sun-E is only at the late stage of the 3-star level. If Sun-E agrees, it would be tantamount to leaving the ghost realm with an extremely dangerous time bomb. If Yushika went berserk and went mad in the outside world, to defeat a demon of this caliber, it generally requires an entire battle group to be fully prepared and mobilize its full strength. Imagine a notorious female ghost at the late stage of the 7 stars realm, unleashing her full power in a densely populated human city. Sun-E absolutely cannot become such a sinner. Should we stick to this contract for now, and then figure out a way to quickly level up to a 5-star ghost master? Sun-E asked himself these questions. Even if one were to continuously devour soul pearls until all current reserves were consumed, it might not be possible to achieve this. Moreover, this is not a matter of resources. Sun Yi was confident that as long as he followed Bai Yongfeng or Xinghe, he could explain the special circumstances. Resources are definitely not lacking. The university's warehouse will certainly open its doors to us. After using a lot of resources to train a 5-star ghost master, you also get the bonus of permanently eliminating the threat of a late-stage 7-star female ghost. This deal is a great bargain. Even if everything went smoothly, Sun Yi couldn't stop eating for a moment. It would take several months just to eat that much. At the same time, a large number of consumables need to be prepared to transfer side effects. During this entire period, Yushika remained free. She is, after all, a ghost. No matter how human-like she may seem, she is still a ghost. It could be a wrong word, a wrong action, or even the most ordinary sound made by an ordinary object. That could anger her, potentially leading to a bloodbath throughout Shanghai. But then again, if Sun Yi doesn't accept, could there be bloodshed right now? After forming a pact with Sun Yi, all my actions will be under his command, except for actions detrimental to any targets under the control of the Shadow Royal City. The pact is valid for 3 months in human time. Yushika is quite clever. Seeing Sun Yi's hesitation, he directly raised 2 fingers to the sky to initiate the oath. Just like when I played chess with Yen Ryu before. The power of a vow cannot be broken, not even by Yushika. It could be said that in order to safely leave the ghost realm and catch a glimpse of the human world, she dispelled all of Sun Yi's potential concerns. Really? That's wonderful. Thank you, Sun Yi. Please continue to guide me in the future. Yushika cheered. The next instant, Sun Yi's hand seemed to rise out of thin air as if it were not under his control. Yushika took the initiative to interlock her fingers with Sun Yi. Then, she deliberately extracted a small amount of inspiration from Sun Yi, forming a thin film of inspiration around herself. Sun Yi? What is that? Could it be that Yushika can even imitate the ritual of a contract? Sun Yi didn't do anything just now. It was Yushika who actively guided the inspiration, forcing Sun Yi to form a contract with her. Is their initiative really that strong? Sun Yi was somewhat taken aback. However, Yushika does not truly belong to Sun Yi's contracted spirit. Therefore, such a contract will not bring any side effects. But once the ceremony is complete, Sun Yi will be able to see her condition. Yushika. 7 stars late stage. Skill 1, Telekinesis. Yushika can control her telekinesis to move objects, including herself, within a 5,000-meter range. No cooldown. Telekinesis is lost based on the kinetic energy generated when moving the object. 7 stars. Second skill, Arcane Supreme. Yushika's control over her inspiration has reached its peak. Any skill she uses, including its power, negative effects, and buffs, will be greatly enhanced, and its cooldown will always be reduced by 50% compared to the original version. Passive skill, 7 stars. Third skill, Replica. Yushika completely replicates the enemy's last use skill, up to 2 different skills. Skills cannot be stored. Yushika will only remember the stolen skill for 30 minutes. No cooldown, 7 stars. Note, this contracted spirit is an abnormal contract and does not occupy a contracted spirit slot, because it's not a real contract. Therefore, Yushika's skills are all unlocked. Sun Yi was somewhat shocked as he saw the increasingly overpowered skill descriptions. That's amazing! She truly deserves the title of Queen of Shadows. With her around, Sun Yi no longer needs to worry about encountering any opponents with powerful skills. The stronger your skills, the better I can turn the tables on you. What does it mean to steal your skills and use them better than you? It boasts a mechanic-heavy build, yet its stats are still monstrous. Awesome! Realizing that Sun Yi was shocked by her powerful skills, Yushika proudly crossed her arms. How was it? This contract didn't treat you unfairly, did it? In the next 3 months, take me around the human world more often. Maybe I'll be willing to stay a little longer. In this way, Sun Yi's task at the large library can be considered successfully completed. As a superior being to the ordinary book ghost, Yen Ryu, the information advantage she can bring to Sun Yi far surpasses that of other information-type contract ghosts. In addition, they unexpectedly gained Yushika, the Shadow Queen, as an extra fighting force. Although she is not Sun Yi's official contracted ghost, under the effect of the oath, as long as Sun Yi does not order Yushika to attack targets belonging to the Shadow Royal City, Yushika should obey orders normally in other matters. As long as it's a normal command. Before leaving, Sun Yi also looted Lu Shifa, who had been killed by Yuxika with a single stab of his staff. 10 5-star soul beads and 2 6-star soul beads were found. It was probably something he carried with him to restore his inspiration. There was also a considerable amount of equipment. The dagger Lu Shifa was holding looked to be of very high quality. Previously, Sun Yi might not have taken it to avoid being implicated. But now, things have come to this between me and the Purgatory Warband. Sun Yi was no longer afraid and took them all with him. Even if he doesn't need it, the Equipment Recycling Center at the Magic University will make sure Sun Yi has a proper arrangement. Free trade, equipment recycling. Doesn't this demonstrate the advantages of Magic University? In the midst of their conversation, Sun Yi had already left the ghost domain of the Great Library. It took much longer to get out than to get in. When venturing into the ghost realm, proceed cautiously step by step. It's a process of pioneering. But it's different when you come out. Any evil spirits that could block his way were basically wiped out by the ghost tide that Sun Yi triggered as soon as he entered. About half an hour later, Sun Yi had already stepped out of the teleportation portal of the Great Library. The sun outside is quite bright. The long-awaited sunshine, Sun Yi said, stretching. The large library was dark, damp, and had a musty smell, making it quite oppressive. This is the sun in the human world, and that huge pool of water is what they call the ocean? Oh, so that's what it looks like. Yushika, through Sun Yi's perspective, marvels at everything in the human world. As soon as Sun Yi stepped out of the teleportation portal, he saw someone waving at him from the outpost in the distance. It was an old man with a white beard and glasses, sitting in a wheelchair. There was also a slender female ghost dressed in business attire guarding her side. Isn't that Bai Yongfeng, Sun Yi's mentor and the professor at Magic University who specializes in researching female ghosts? Sun Yi rushed over. Professor Bai? What are you doing here? Bai Yongfeng glanced at Sun Yi indifferently. Don't you know who you've messed with? If I hadn't contacted the Radiant chapter, the Infernal chapter would have been waiting for you here already. He sighed. I won't ask what happened between you and the people from the Purgatory Battle Group in the Ghost Realm. How's your contract with the female ghost going? This was what Bai Yongfeng cared about most. As for whether Sun Yi actually killed Dutung's son in the ghost domain, everything requires evidence. Why don't you go and find the evidence in the ghost realm? Furthermore, such events are also a form of training for demon slayers. The dangers in the ghost realm are never limited to evil spirits. Bai Yongfeng believes that this is also beneficial to Sun Yi to some extent. Of course, Sun Yi said frankly. Okay, that's good. We'll talk about it when we get back. Bai Yongfeng nodded and waved for the female ghost Xiaoqian, who was guarding him, to push his wheelchair. The two arrived at the parking lot where a luxury SUV was parked. Xiaoqian helped Bai Yongfeng to the back seat, closed the car door, and got into the driver's seat herself. Sun Yi? Is Xiaoqian really that capable? Can you even drive? Sun Yi hitched a ride with Bai Yongfeng back to Magic University. Inside Bai Yongfeng's villa. Just like in the past when Sun Yi would come to Bai Yongfeng to report after returning from the ghost realm. Sun Yi was sitting in the same spot at this moment. Bai Yongfeng sat opposite him, as shocked as ever. What do you mean by you've made a contract with the Great Library? Bai Yongfeng looked puzzled. Does the Great Library, a malevolent spirit, exist in the ghost realm? He was quite certain that the Encyclopedia of Evil Spirits in the Great Library's ghost realm was his work. What exactly is this Grand Library that Sun Yi claims came from by contract? Left with no other choice, Sun Yi had to let Yan Ryu come out. She wore the same academic gown as the ordinary book ghost, but hers was white. The moment she appeared, Bai Yongfeng's eyes widened. The ink-like aura within him, residing in the book, reacted strongly to Yan Ryu. That's the instinct of a contracted spirit when it sees its superior. I feel a sense of awe spontaneously.
Hello, everyone. As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500+ novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.